is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Wisconsin.
It's a rainy night throughout Wisconsin and the Milwaukee area, but that's not going to stop us from playing baseball. It's the Padres and the Brew Crew live from Miller Park as they open up a three-game weekend series. And the Brewers put their ace out on the hill, and he looked all of the ace back in May, the last time these two teams met. Giovanni Gallardo pitching 7 strong innings, 11 strikeouts, and also doing it with the bat as well as he belted a home run in that game to help the Brewers to a 2-1 victory. The only time they scored runs in the series and won a game as well. San Diego had their number back then. We'll see if the Brewers can bounce back here tonight. David Nelson, Craig Kashan on board as we continue our coverage of Brewers baseball here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. And Davey, let's dial in on the hottest team in baseball right now, the San Diego Padres. They've won 10 of 11, 6-1 on a current 10-game road trip right now. They're doing it all.
Well, they certainly do. And I was talking with Buddy Black, their manager, during batting practice, and he crossed his fingers when I asked him about his ball club and playing very well. He says, Davey, it's a long way to go, but right now our pitching has been really keeping us in ball games.
Well, they did a number on the Brewers, winning 3 of 4 back in May, and they have cruised through the National League West ever since. But nothing to be afraid of here because the last couple of games, the Brew Crew have beaten 2 of the best pitchers in the league. They're on a little roll on their own. They've won 3 straight. Rock and BA tell us why a challenging stretch could be their best.
Taste greatness. Well, pitching is the name of the game tonight. The Brewers have their ace, Giovanni Gallardo, on the mound. He's going after his 12th win of the season. Gallardo among league leaders in earned run average, and he'll take to the mound against Wade LeBlanc here tonight. LeBlanc has been a big story for the San Diego Padres, and they're pitching the best in the National League as far as ERA. They come in with a 3.18 earned run average, the lowest opponent's batting average, and only the San Francisco Giants have more strikeouts against the National League this year than San Diego. And hi, everybody. We welcome you back from Miller Park. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder. Well, we're high and dry inside Miller Park right now. It is raining outside now. The roof is closed, and pitching is going to be the story. And for the third consecutive game, the Brewers are going to face some of the best pitching in the National League, but they handled themselves pretty well in St. Louis.
And you thought that things were going to get easy after facing Ubaldo Jimenez on Sunday in Colorado. They fared really well against him, but Jaime Garcia, one of the top rookies and one of the top pitchers in the National League. When you talk about earned run average, the Brewers very opportunistic. They only hit the one home run in that two-game series against the Cardinals, and they laid the only loss for Adam Wainwright at Busch Stadium. He was 11-0 before the Brewers came into town. Lorenzo Cain doing an outstanding job, a couple of extra base hits against Wainwright. Only the second time a National League hitter has been able to get extra base hits off of Wainwright this season. So, tough pitching is something that the Brewers have been dealing with for a while now. 3 consecutive starts. Now they have to deal with the entire pitching staff of the San Diego Padres that has all season been very surprising, but they're the best in the National League.
And you see what the Brewers did in St. Louis. Garcia, the 6th lowest ERA in the National League. They beat Garcia and then Adam Wainwright with those 17 wins. And putting his name into the Cy Young picture, the Brewers came up victorious. A 2-game sweep in St. Louis. The San Diego Padres are coming off a sweep in 4 games at Wrigley Field in Chicago. And they'll have to deal with the Brewers ace tonight. Giovanni is on the mound. It's a Friday night at Miller Park. The lineups in the first pitch coming up next. Always a little extra intensity when Giovanni Gallardo is on the mound, and he leads the Brewers on the field here at Miller Park as this homestand begins against the first place San Diego Padres, managed by Bud Black. 73-47, the best record in the National League. The Padres have won 9 of their last 10. They've won 5 consecutive games, and coming off a sweep of the Chicago Cubs, the first time in their franchise history that they have swept the Cubs at Wrigley Field. So a red-hot ball club, and we're set to play ball. Will Venable leads off. First pitch is in there for a strike, and away we go at Miller Park. Will Venable, a late addition to the leadoff spot of this lineup. He was hitting 8th in the original Bud Black lineup, but Jerry Hairston has come up ill, and the Padres are going to be playing this game a little short-handed here tonight.
Yeah, started out with only 4 utility players on the bench, but with Hairston out and ill, not sure if he's available, so it may very well be only 3 players on Bud Black's bench. That is thin. Of course, Ken Maka knows what that's like.
Quickly 0-2 on Venable. Well, the Padres will line up like this. No Tony Gwynn. He might be out for the season with a wrist injury. David Eckstein also injured. He might return this weekend. So this is what it looks like today. Brought to you by Subway, Venable, Tejada, and Gonzalez. Then you got Ludwig, Headley, and Torrealba with Denorfia, Cabrera, and LeBlanc rounding it out. And a curveball from Gallardo, missed down and in. Well, the Brewers feeling pretty good about themselves to start this series. And this homestand coming off a 2-game sweep in St. Louis and beating Garcia and Wainwright to do it. Milwaukee comes in with a record of 57-64. Prince Fielder good to go tonight. Had a wrist injury in St. Louis. He shoot that off after the game. He said it'll be no problem after a day off yesterday to be back in the lineup tonight. And there he is. Fielder back in the starting lineup once again.
Yeah, he's tough to hurt. That's what's been so incredible about Prince Fielder. Able to stay on the field every single day.
Now the Brewers also glad to get Alcides Escobar back in the lineup. He had to leave the game in St. Louis with leg cramps. It looked like it was something more serious, but Escobar good to go tonight. As Venable with a lazy fly ball to right, and that's how we begin tonight. Here's the defense behind Giovanni Gallardo, brought to you by Blaine's Farm and Fleet. It's Braun, Kane, and Hart in the outfield. McGee and Escobar on the left side with Weeks and Fielder on the right. And a battery of Jonathan Lucroy and Giovanni Gallardo, a pair of 24-year-olds.
Yeah, Yo looking for win number 12 here tonight. He's 10th in the league in earned run average at 297, 7th in strikeouts with 154, and 8th in the National League in winning percentage at 688. Ubaldo Jimenez leads the National League in winning percentage. He's 17-3.
Very good pitching staff here in San Diego, and the Brewers are going to get LeBlanc, Correa, and John Garland. Latos went yesterday. That's the ace of this staff at this point. Brewers are going to counter with Gallardo, Narveson, and Parra. There was some talk for Ken Maka that he would mix and match because of the off day yesterday, but he will stick with the rotation as is. So a couple of lefties for the Brewers the next 2 days. Right off the end of the bat, and Tejada is retired. Well, this Padres lineup certainly has a different look to it with the bookends around Adrian Gonzalez. Miguel Tejada and Ryan Ludwig now a part of this offense, and it's an offense now that packs some punch for Bud Black. It's not just a team that only pitches.
Well, now they have Ryan Ludwig, and Tejada has been very good since coming over. But you're right. I mean, this is a team that didn't hit many home runs other than Adrian Gonzalez. You can see the 23 home runs, 76 RBIs, but Tejada has been very hot. Not a big home run hitter, but he is a gap-to-gap extra base hit type hitter. Padres scored a lot of their runs before those guys arrived, stealing bases. Well, the Mets have stolen more bases than the Padres. Will Venable leads the club in stolen bases, but this is the guy that everybody works around. You always have to know when Adrian Gonzalez is coming up in that game. That's how you manage.
That's so funny to think about the Padres. We saw a lot of them this spring. And really Gonzalez, the only named player in that lineup, as he hammers one to center field. That is way back.
And that ball is going to be gone. A monster home run from Adrian Gonzalez. He loves hitting at Miller Park. That is his 6th home run in just 16 games in this ballpark, and he puts the Padres ahead 1-0.
Well, he likes hitting in any ballpark that is a relatively good home run park. His ballpark, very tough to hit home runs. There's a hanging curveball. Gallardo's thrown a number of curveballs already in this first inning. In Colorado against the Rockies, didn't throw any. It was basically fastball slider. Hung that one, and Gonzalez way back in center field. That's a no-doubter.
High off the batter's eye in straightaway center. So San Diego strikes first. And instead of Gonzalez being the only threat in this lineup, they send Ryan Ludwig up right after Gonzalez. A big home run threat. He's hit 14 this year in the National League. 53 runs batted in for Ryan Ludwig. As a Padre, Ludwig has 3 homers and 10 RBIs.
I think the Cardinals might think about wishing they hadn't done that deal. You know, you had some injuries. Colby Rasmus was not in the starting lineup in that Brewers series against the Cardinals. The Cardinals are having a tough time right now, not able to put many runs on the board. They're going to miss Ludwig the rest of the way.
And Ludwig walks on 4 straight. Yeah, St. Louis made a trade actually to get a new bat in their lineup. They traded for Pedro Feliz, acquiring Feliz from the Houston Astros. Ludwig a big part of that Cardinals offense. He was involved in that 3-way deal. Basically, the Cardinals got Jake Westbrook in return for Ryan Ludwig. There are a number of minor league players involved as well, but it was a 3-way trade between the Padres, the Cardinals, and the Indians. So they went with pitching, but they give up a big bat. And I think when the Ludwig deal was made, that's what everybody around baseball, at least I know we did, said, now the Padres are serious at this point.
Yeah.
Serious contenders to go deep into the postseason if they should make it there.
In the last couple of years, it was just a matter of time whether Adrian Gonzalez was going to get traded. Not if, but when. But that is certainly not the case anymore. No chance of that happening now. One of the best hitters you've probably never heard of out there in the West Coast. Padres really not much of a factor in the West for a while, and he's a good one. Not just with the bat, very good defensively.
2 outs for Chase Headley, a home run and a walk. And that one's hit well deep to right. That's got a chance to go, and it is gone. Chase Headley goes deep. And Gallardo getting a taste of the San Diego Padres quickly here in the first inning. 2 homers in the inning, 3-0 San Diego in the first.
Well, that's a rarity. Yovani Gallardo before tonight had not given up more than 1 home run in any start, and he'd only given up 6 all year. Look like a change-up or some type of an off-speed pitch that stayed up in the strike zone. And Headley able to wait back and knock it out of here. He hit it well to right. For 2 home runs in the first inning, and the Padres with a 3-0 lead.
And against this pitching staff, not a club you want to fall behind early. Still 2 outs. Here's Jorvi Torrealba, veteran catcher coming over from the Rockies a season ago, signed a free agent deal with San Diego. Torrealba was a big postseason performer last year for the Rockies, so much so that he earned the nickname Mr. Rocktober in Colorado.
He's always been a very good defensive catcher, but it always seems that this guy steps up big when the stage is the biggest. Kind of reminds you of Carlos Ruiz of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Bouncing ball to Weeks. And the side retired, but not before the Friars come up with 3 runs, a couple of home runs. Adrian Gonzalez, number 24. And then Chase Headley, a 2-run homer, his 9th of the year.
The Padres get a couple home runs in the first inning. They lead 3-0 before the Brewers even come to bat. Here's the Subway lineup turned in by Maka. It is Weeks at the top. Had a great road trip. Corey Hart hits second. Ryan Braun back in the 3-hole. Middle of the order is Prince Fielder, Casey McGee, and Lorenzo Cain. Bottom three, Alcides Escobar, Jonathan Lucroy, and Giovanni Gallardo, a very good hitting pitcher. And that lineup, Rock, will face Wade LeBlanc, who is 7-10 this year, and a 3.46 ERA.
Yeah, but he has pitched much better than that record would indicate. He's won each of his last 2 starts, giving up a combined 3 runs in 12 2/3 innings.
Much better numbers at home than on the road, as is the case with many of the Padre pitchers. They play in one of the most pitcher-friendly ballparks in baseball at Petco Park in San Diego.
Yeah, you can make some mistakes in that ballpark, get away with them. He's got a 2.59 home earned run average, but only a 3-5 record.
He's giving up just about 2 more runs per game on the road than he is at home. And the Brewers are going to need to take advantage of that tonight. They're already down 3-0. Weeks comes in with 23 home runs, 72 driven in. Facing the changeup specialist, Wade LeBlanc. Brewers seem to do all right against power. It's the finesse pitchers that give him fits. And LeBlanc certainly fits in that finesse pitcher role. Ludwig coming in. And the first out of the bottom of the first inning. Check the Padres defensively. Will Venable, Chris Denorfia, and Ryan Ludwig in the outfield. Denorfia starting for Gwynn. Chase Headley and Miguel Tejada on the left side. Evan Cabrera, the late addition to the lineup. He and Adrian Gonzalez on the right. And a battery of Yorvi Torrealba and Wade LeBlanc.
Yeah, there's a 3-way tie at leading in fielding percentage in the National League. The Padres won them. Cincinnati and the Giants up there. They turn a lot of double plays, and they have been very solid defensively. That goes with the good pitching. Pitching and defense. It's an old cliche, but truer words never spoken.
And it gives Padres fans hope as Hart goes into right. That ball is well hit. Ludwig is back, and it's off the top of the wall. Hart into second base, now thinking about third. He's on his way. Ludwig has a great arm. The slide, the tag is late. A triple for Corey Hart. Oh, he took a gamble, but he makes it. Ludwig fired a strike to third base.
Yeah, he threw it on one hop right to third, and Chase Headley with the tag, and Corey Hart hesitated just a little bit around second base and almost cost him. But you can't hit it much further and keep it in the ballpark than Corey did. There's that curveball from LeBlanc, left it up in his zone. Corey doing a nice job taking it to the opposite field. That's what the Brewers have to do tonight. Thought it might be out, but Corey Hart looked right there. He's thinking about settling for a double, but he turns it on and just barely makes it.
His 4th triple of the year. Here's Braun now. Remember, Corey Hart missed a couple of games on the last homestand with a little tightness in his lower back. He played throughout the road trip, but it's still something that he's trying to maintain.
Yeah, he's not at full strength.
Spending a lot of time in the athletic trainer's office.
Yeah, certainly not running like he can, but good enough.
Braun singles back up the middle of base hit. The Brewers get one back quickly as Ryan Braun delivers an RBI. So it's 3-1 San Diego. And here we are talking about the great pitching, and already 4 runs on the board, and we're not even through the bottom of the first yet.
Yeah, the Brewers capable of getting involved in a slugfest. They'll say, all right, we'll match you. And nice job by Ryan. Check out where this pitch is. Change up, down and away, and stays back long enough and able to hook it, and he got it into center field. Ryan thinking about a double. He took a big turn at first base.
Braun a week removed from his National League Player of the Week honor. He's at first for Fielder. Back-to-back hits for Milwaukee. 3-1 San Diego early. A lot of action already on a rainy Friday night in Milwaukee. Good to have a roof tonight, partner.
Yeah.
This
No
game,
rain delays. Yep. Everything starts on time. Great for the fans. And for broadcasters, too.
Yes, sir. Starting on time again.
Every night.
Weather not a factor. A lot of soaking wet fans coming in the ballpark, though, after walking from the parking lots. Fielder gets jammed a little. And DeNorfia will settle under it. Out number 2. So 2 outs. Fielder retired. Braun still at first. And here comes Casey McGee. And boy, has he been hot. On the last homestand, McGee put together a run of 9 consecutive hits and a .383 batting average over his last 15. Look at the RBIs during his last 15 as well.
And no player in baseball any hotter right now than Case McGee, having a big month of August in the Brewers' attempt to get back to 500.
Casey is 8th in the National League in RBIs. He is 10 RBIs behind the league leader Albert Pujols, who has 87 to start play today. Career numbers for McGee. With each home run he adds to it, sitting on 19. McGee had a 3-hit game on Tuesday night in St. Louis, including a home run, his 19th homer of the year. With that home run off Jaime Garcia, part of a 3-2 Milwaukee win. Both of the wins in St. Louis by a final score of 3-2.
Every game on that 5-game road trip was a 1-run game. Brewers ended up 3-2 on that road trip. A lot of very good games.
McGee, center field, way back there. Casey McGee off the top of the wall. Here comes Braun around third. The relay is bobbled. Braun is safe at home. Oh, he missed a home run by inches.
Man, 2 of them by inches. Casey thought that ball was out of the ballpark.
He's asking Ed Rapuano for a replay. He thought it went over. Only the crew chief can call for a replay, and that is the second base umpire, Tom Hallion, who's standing as close to any umpire to Casey McGee.
Well, how close can the Brewers come and not hit a home run? That one misses by about 2 feet. Corey Hart's hit the yellow line down there in right.
Now Lorenzo Cain takes a big cut on the first swing.
Nice job by Casey. This is what he does so well. He takes it right back into center field on a fastball that was supposed to be inside. LeBlanc left it out over the plate, and Casey centers on it nicely. Caught it just a little bit back in the zone. Didn't quite get his good extension. That's why he wasn't able to get it out of the ballpark.
Missed it by a few inches on the center field wall. So the Brewers play a 4-game series in San Diego in late April and early May. They scored 2 runs in 4 games, both on solo homers, and already 2 runs on the board in the first here tonight without the benefit of a home run. Go figure.
Yeah, you score 2 runs in a 4-game series and you win one of those games. Both of those solo shots came in the same game and they won.
0-2 the count on Lorenzo Cain. Over to third. Here's Headley. And the side is retired, but the Brewers do good work. They get 2 back quickly. 3-2 Padres. We're on our way.
The second inning, the Crew just completed a 5-game road trip with a 3-2 record, with all 5 games decided by 1 run. Milwaukee joined 7 other teams on the all-time list for all games of a road trip decided by 1 run. The list dates back to the 1916 Cincinnati Reds. As a matter of fact, the Reds strung together 6 one-run games on a road trip back in 2008 before the Brewers were able to do it on this most recent trip through Denver and St. Louis. So, guys, 1-run game so far. Hopefully it'll swing the other way and the Brewers can be on top 1 run.
A lot of good names on that list, Telly, with some of the old school going back to the early days of baseball. The Brooklyn Robins, who emerged as the Brooklyn Dodgers shortly thereafter. That was back when Rock was still playing.
Yeah. The old Wool Unis.
3-2. A lot of action early here. Padres get 2 home runs in the first inning. The Brewers score twice on RBIs from Braun and McGee. And now Gallardo back to work, facing the bottom of this San Diego order. It's Denorfia leading off, playing center field. Padres are going to miss Tony Gwynn Jr. as Denorfia singles back up the middle.
Hey, if you're traveling this season, take the Brewers with you. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Brewers game live or on demand on your computer. Visit Brewers.com to order and to get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere.
Now, the report on Tony Gwynn Jr. is that it is possible he'll require surgery on his wrist. And if that's the case, he'll be gone for the season. Gwynn was batting just .212, but this is a ball club in the San Diego Padres that bank on pitching and defense. And Gwynn, one of the better defensive center fielders in the league. So that's a key loss for San Diego.
And a lot of room to cover in those National League Western Division ballparks. So you have to have a center fielder that runs them down pretty well.
Padres are also without David Eckstein, who's been out with an injured calf. There's a chance he could return to the active roster tomorrow here in Milwaukee. They're thinking maybe Saturday or Sunday for Eckstein's return. He'll immediately go back in the 2-hole in the batting order, and he gives them another veteran presence, a former World Series MVP, as a matter of fact, for their stretch run.
And Tony Gwynn, he just can't catch a break. It always seems like it's something, one thing or another, with putting him on the disabled list. That was his main problem as a member of the Brewers. He just couldn't stay healthy enough to earn a spot. And hurt again this year.
To a nothing to count on Cabrera. And 3 balls, no strikes. And already Gallardo, you can tell, it's fighting his mechanics to start this game.
Yeah, fighting his mechanics, and because of that, his location has been questionable. Made a couple of mistakes with curveballs in the first inning that ended up being home runs, and just a little bit out of rhythm here tonight.
Gallardo pitched well his last time out in Colorado. Did not pick up the win. He left with the lead. That was a game Tulowitzki hit the 3-run home run in the 8th inning. As Gallardo walks the 8th place hitter. And a shaky start to the 2nd inning. A hit and a walk, and now the pitcher is coming up with 2 on. And that leads us to our Carsoup.com email the booth question. Wes in Oshkosh wants to know, are the Padres the biggest surprise in baseball this season? But the Padres, the Reds on that list, right. I think.
Yep.
Well, I'd say yes. The San Diego Padres. There were some experts, not Bill Schroeder, of course, who thought the Padres might lose 100 games this year.
And we saw them in spring training. They didn't really impress you a whole lot. I got to believe Cincinnati's got to be on that list. Did you figure the Atlanta Braves would be doing what they're doing? I don't know.
It's good for baseball, though, regardless, to see teams like the Reds and the Padres have so much success. And it certainly gives every major league club hope going into spring training of next season. How often will the San Diego Padres of 2010 be referenced over the next couple of years? It'll be a lot like what we heard from the Tampa Bay Rays when they made it to the World Series in 08.
The surprise of the West Division is the Dodgers. I mean, they're 12 games back. They're out of it. Having a tough time. Who would have thought that?
In the air, McGee cannot get there. And a foul ball. It's 1-1.
Padres with a 6-game lead over the Giants. I think the Giants are a surprise. They've got good pitching as well. Only the Texas Rangers have a bigger lead in their division. They have a 7-game lead over the Angels.
Starting a series last weekend in San Francisco, the Padres had a 2.5-game lead. And it has swelled to 6. They took 2 out of 3 from San Francisco, and then they swept the Chicago Cubs. Tonight, the Giants are in St. Louis. San Francisco has a 1-0 lead in the second inning at Busch. A matchup of postseason hopefuls, the Giants and the Cardinals. LeBlanc trying to give the Brewers an out. Gets a bunt down. It's a good one. Gallardo thought about third, and he'll make the play to first. Sacrifice bunt for San Diego. Second and third with the top of the order coming up.
Yeah, but it is a very fundamentally sound ball club, this Padres club. These are the things they do very well. Padres, the third most sacrifice bunts in the National League, the 62nd.
There's what the West looks like to start play today. San Diego has the best record in the National League. And only the Yankees and the Rays with a better record in all of baseball. That's how good the Padres have been this year. And a 6-game lead. They have dominated the Central Division, San Diego. As Venable slices one in the gap. That's big trouble. That's going to go to the wall. 2 more runs are going to score. Venable into second base with a 2 RBI double. And the Padres are making it look easy against the Brewers ace tonight.
It looks like another breaking ball that Venable able to stay back on. From the limited time that we've seen Venable, he likes the ball down in the strike zone. You give him anything, 90 miles an hour and up around the belt, he has a tough time with it. But something down in the strike zone, very good. Like a changeup, actually. A little bit of a dead fish fastball. Slider, perhaps, that didn't do much, but that pitch down in the zone, he just golfed it out there in the left center. A very good low ball hitter, Will Venable.
So it's 5-2 San Diego. And the hits keep coming tonight. Gallardo trying to stop the bleeding here early. We're only in the second inning, still just 1 away. Miguel Tejada, who grounded out his last time up, hit one right off the end of the bat. Tejada was an MVP for the Oakland Athletics. That was when Ken Maka was in Oakland. Maka knows him well. Tejada, one of his favorite players. A guy that he talks about in relation to Prince Fielder, a guy you just pencil in the lineup. You know he's going to play every day. Tejada had that long consecutive games played streak. As he lifts one to center field, Kane is back. He's got it. And he's second out of the inning.
Yeah, a few years ago, that ball might have been rattling off the wall out there, but the bat has slowed down somewhat for Tejada. It's certainly not the home run hitter that he used to be, but he's still very good going to the opposite field. He can hit the ball to right center with power. The ball got in on him just a little bit and jammed himself.
Well, we'll see what the Brewers do here with Gonzalez. Before the trade for Ryan Ludwig, this was an automatic intentional walk. Not necessarily with Ludwig on deck.
Just don't give him anything to hit. You still don't want to mess around with this guy. You'd much rather go after Ludwig. In the first inning, a hanging curveball, and I'll tell you, he pounded it way out of here into center field off the batter's eye, about midway up. You don't want to make that mistake again.
First run for the Padres back in the first. And they put 5 on the board already.
Just walk him. Why mess around? Out there, give him 2 more balls and put him on first base.
Only Albert Pujols has been intentionally walked more than Gonzalez. And Adrian will add one to it here. It'll be his 22nd. Pujols has 27. But you figure those numbers are going to pare down a little bit with the new additions of the Padres. First and second for Gallardo. He's already thrown 43 pitches. A quick trip to the mound from Jonathan Lucroy. Well, it is early, and you hate to say it this early, but the game might hinge on this at bat right here. Padres already lead 5-2. Ludwig walked in the first inning and then scored on the Headley homer. A lot of hitters counts tonight for Gallardo. Throw him a slider on a 2-0 pitch.
Yeah, nice pitch. And Ludwig sitting on that fastball, and Gallardo gave him a little bit of a wrinkle. Watched the ball go away just at the last minute. Not much of a break, but enough. Right on the outside corner.
In the air to right. Playable for Hart. So Ludwig is retired, but the Padres score 2 more runs. 5-2. Brewers coming up bottom of Park. San Diego with 5 runs on the board already on 4 hits, 2 homers. And the Brewers batting for the second time, down 3. Alcides Escobar leads off. Bottom of the order for Milwaukee. Escobar, Lucroy, and Gallardo. LeBlanc gave up 2 runs in the first. Hart tripled. Braun drove him in with a single, and then Casey McGee doubled in Braun with a high drive off the wall that almost went out. He missed it by a few inches. Escobar hitting .248, 3 homers, 34 RBIs. And a little fly ball to center, carrying a little bit. But Denorfia hauls it in for out number 1.
Yep, kept the hands back, but he was out in front with the body, but kept the hands back. And for Escobar to hit it that deep, being pulled a little bit, got good wood on it. Soft breaking ball from LeBlanc, and just a little bit out in front.
Wade LeBlanc certainly subscribes to the theory less is more. He's a change-up specialist.
Tops out at about 89, maybe 90 from time to time, but he's going to be normally around 88 miles an hour. Change up. He'll throw a curveball from time to time, a cutter. He might give a right hand to one of those back leg cutters from time to time, but it's usually fastball changeup. And according to Dale Swaim, he'll throw a lot of fastballs. He spots it well.
Jonathan Lucroy with 1 away. Lucroy hitting .265, a couple of home runs this year, 12 driven in. And a bouncing ball to Tejada. Still with good range and a good arm. Tejada retires Lucroy, and 2 quick outs for LeBlanc in the 2nd inning.
Yeah, you talk to the folks around this Padres ball club, they'll tell you that Tejada might have lost a step or two, but he has not lost anything with his throwing arm. He's got a cannon over there at shortstop. And if he can get to it, he's going to get to you out. He's got good soft hands.
So 2 outs. Here is Gallardo. Giovanni trying to get something going for the top of the order. Good hitting pitcher, Gallardo. He's a .245 hitter this year. Has 4 homers in just 49 at bats. Already the franchise leader for home runs. That one's off the end of the bat. Coming in is Venable. And that is a quick inning for Wade LeBlanc. 3 up, 3 down. The Brewers go in order. Wisconsin, and by Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. Having some fun at Miller Park tonight, and we're pleased to be joined now by Doug Melvin, Brewers general manager, is with us. We always like to catch up with Doug at least once a homestand, and Here we are, Doug. This is a night where Rock and I are talking about how great the pitching is, and already 7 runs on the board. You just never know in this game.
You really don't. You don't. You got the San Diego Padres team that everybody keeps asking, are they for real? But they're for real. They've been doing it long enough now. They're a team that's out there that's playing very loose. I think their expectations weren't very high. And, they're just going out and having a good year and doing all the things that you have to do to win ball games.
Your team has had a rough stretch of starting. Jimenez and Garcia and Wainwright, they fared pretty well through that last road trip, all one-run games. I mean, give us your assessment of your club right now.
Yeah, I thought we had a chance to win a couple of those games in Colorado, too, against some pretty good pitching and that. And, our pitching was pretty good. We kept the hits down, but what's happened even like tonight, we got 5 runs with only 4 hits. And that happened in Colorado, too. I think there was a 5-hit game. And in St. Louis, a 4-hit game. But you just can't give up. It's the runs that matter in the end. And we've had trouble most of the year with that big inning, giving up a 3 or a 4 or a 5 spot. And the big inning has really hurt us, probably more so over the course of the year than anything.
That's amazing. In watching the ball club, I mean, the last 3 road series, only 2 home runs, none in Colorado, but you guys are swinging the bats. I mean, you out-hit Colorado 35-23.
Right.
Won one of those ball games, but you're scoring runs without the home run. That's a good sign.
Yeah, it is. I know. I don't think we hit a home run in Colorado this year, and that's unusual to think you do that. But our offense, we've been finding ways to score some runs in that, and the bullpen has stepped up to at times. So there's some positive signs. You look at the ball club, and I think it's exciting to see a young Jonathan LaCroix and Escobar and Lorenzo Cain. And if you look up the middle, and Ricky Weeks, those are very tough positions to fill. If you're trying to fill those spots, and I think that's to know that those guys are part of our future. I think that's pretty exciting. That kind of athletic players.
Right on cue, Ricky Weeks makes a terrific play to retire Chase Headley. So the Brewers' second baseman coming up with a gem here early.
Just good instincts by Ricky. I mean, really showing his athleticism this year, playing with a lot of confidence, not just at the plate, but out there at second base. And it seems, Doug, that Ricky seems to not be as mechanical this year as he has been in the past out there at second base.
Yeah, he looks much more relaxed in that. And, the one thing with Ricky is we did develop Ricky up here at the big league level. And I've talked about that when we were talking about Lorenzo Cain and Carlos Gomez. And Lorenzo Cain had 2,200 at bats in the minor leagues, and Carlos Gomez was in the big leagues at the age of 20. So there's so much. It's so important to fully develop a player at the minor leagues and that's why Ricky's the kind of player we thought he would always be. It's just that because he was up here early at a young age, it just takes a little bit more time. But you can see now he's a very good big league player, talented in all the things that he struggled with the first year or so. He looks a lot more fluid at doing it, both at the plate and in the field.
Good play there by Casey McGee. Let me get your thoughts on Lorenzo Cain. You made the trade with your old friend Walt Jocketty with the Cincinnati Reds, trading Jim Edmonds to Cincinnati to open the door for some playing time. What have you seen from your young center fielder?
Well, Lorenzo is, again, a player I think he's very fundamentally sound. Again, I think that comes back to playing as much as he has in the minor leagues, spending the full time down there to develop. That's important. He's disciplined at the plate. He'll work the count for you. He does have power. You will see some power, but he's not a home run guy. He'll hit some doubles. He's a good base runner. He plays the game with energy and enthusiasm. He looks like he likes to play the game. I think, there's some similarities. People have talked a little bit like a Torrey Hunter kind of player in that regard. And Torrey Hunter was the kind of player that, developed a little bit later. But I think that time in the minor leagues, the only thing that prevented Lorenzo from being here maybe a year earlier was he's had a little history of injuries in that. So, but we're glad to see him here. Reed Nichols always believed in Lorenzo, always felt that he was going to be our center fielder for the future. And they're the people that see these guys play every day, day in and day out. So you've got to have a lot of confidence when they give you that opinion.
Gallardo with a strikeout. Doug, can you hang in there? We'll ask you about your charity that's going on tonight and get into some of the transactions that might be going down the next Padres lead 5-2 as we head to the bottom of the third inning. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder, Telly Hughes, and Doug Melvin joins us here in the booth, the Brewers general manager. And we're watching the Brewers and the Padres, and San Diego has the best record in the National League coming in. And they put 5 runs on the board. It's not a club that was supposed to be an offensive threat, but they certainly have been tonight. And from a general manager's perspective, adding pieces like Ryan Ludwig and adding pieces like Miguel Tejada, those are a couple of big trades for the Padres.
Yeah, they're veteran players that, they're not having their best years, but I think their presence is what's very important for them. When you get veteran players that go onto a club with a lot of younger players, they get re-energized themselves. But Ludwig was coming from a club that was in a pennant race, and Tejada is into a pennant race. He was on a club that was struggling. So I'm sure Miguel Tejada is really energized to perform here and help this club. And they remind me of a club when I was a farms director and assistant GM in Baltimore, 1989 club. We won 54 games in 1 year. The next year we won 89 games, almost went from worst to first. And it was all a bunch of young. It was a bunch of young players, and you had a couple veterans, Phil Bradley and Cal Ripken, were the two. Were the two veterans. But everybody else were younger players. There was Steve Finley at the time, Billy Ripken, Pete Harnish, pitchers that were all just coming up, similar to the Padres. And there wasn't a lot of pressure because the year before you weren't expected to win. But these guys have really played well. And once you get into August, there's a lot of pressure. So the Bud Black, Ted Simmons, the staff down there have done a good job keeping these guys focused.
A strikeout for LeBlanc. Well, as we approach the end of the month, and by the way, tonight here at Miller Park, Ellen Melvin hosted her 5th annual Step Up to the Plate in Fight Against Breast Cancer fundraiser supporting the Southeast Wisconsin affiliate of Susan G. Komen for the Cure. All presented by Fields, Land Rover, Jaguar, Volvo of Waukesha, Madison, and the Brewers Community Foundation. Guests enjoyed bidding on an array of silent auction items. I know you were just up there, Doug. You did the pink tie event last homestand, and that raised a lot of money for cancer research. And now your wife Ellen is doing a great job with this event as we speak.
Yeah, Ellen and my daughter Ashley, they put a lot of work into it, and they have a committee. Tom Flanagan's wife Jennifer, and there's a number of other people that have helped with this fundraiser. They have a lot of fun up there. There's a lot of items that they spend their money. It's all going to a worthy cause, and this is the 5th year, and at the end of this event, I think it's going to be almost $250,000 total. So between that and what we raised at the pink tie last Sunday, so they have a lot of fun with it. It's a one time a year event, and a lot of work put into it, but it all goes to a worthy cause.
Congratulations on that venture. I hope they raise a lot of money. Brewers Community Foundation has done a great job this year, and we love to talk X's and O's with Doug, but we also like to present some of the charitable opportunities as well. And speaking of GM speak, as we approach the end of August, to get on a playoff roster has to be on that roster by September 1st. What's the difference between the trade deadline at the end of July and then the waiver wire trade deadline, which comes up at the end of this month, as far as activity from your side?
Well, all of our players have been put on waivers, and then there's some of them that had been claimed, so you wouldn't be able to trade them. And then there's a group of players that get through waivers, and so teams passed on them. So they're players that if you wanted to trade them, you could trade them. They don't have to go through waivers again. And that. So there's a number of players. Every team has that. There's teams that will block players from another team getting them. For example, St. Louis could have claimed Jim Edmonds on waivers and prevented him from getting to Cincinnati, and they didn't. So that was Cincinnati lucked out on that. So it came down to Jim Edmonds and I had talked. We had this ongoing talk all along. If there was a chance for him to get a chance to go to a playoff or a World Series, that as long as it was a fair deal, we would do that. And that. So that's the difference. That teams can get claimed on waivers. Last year, remember the White Sox, Toronto put Rios on waivers. They claimed him on waivers. There was no trade involved because Toronto looked like they just wanted to have moved the contract. So the White Sox came up with a player who last year didn't perform as well. This year's having a very good year. So you just never know with the player's performance up and down. But if a player's on waivers now and you claim them, they also run the risk that team might just let him go to get rid of the salary. So there's a lot of teams going out there. I think down the stretch teams will be looking for more like a bench type player, a role type player, maybe another left-handed pitcher. I don't anticipate a big trade at the end of August on these teams. They're looking for players that can help them get through September in case of injuries. And then they're also qualified whether they're a guy that they can put on their playoff roster.
2 outs for Ryan Braun. Back-to-back strikeouts for LeBlanc. Spending a few minutes here with Doug Melvin, Brewers general manager. Yeah, Braun fouls it away.
I was going to ask you the situation with Dylan Colby. Talk about that. Kind of an unfortunate situation with your #1 draft choice.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Dylan and we had a great relationship. Bruce Sider, scouting director, Corey Rodriguez, our West Coast supervisor, and the Colby family. A good relationship. We were willing to go out and sign him. He was wearing a Brewers hat all summer. He met the team when we were out on the West Coast, and when we did the physical and did the blood work, both the family and us were totally shocked that the result came out that he had type 1 diabetes. Right. And it was a lot to ask an 18-year-old player or 18-year-old athlete to make a decision what to do. Stay closer to home, get on the regiment, the structured program that he needs to manage the diabetes, and go to the University of San Diego, or he could go into the minor leagues with us and try to manage it in the minor leagues. So Brandon Morrow, a pitcher that's with the Blue Jays, a very similar type player that had the diabetes. He went to college and had it in college, so but he's managed it. It's not something you're ever going to get rid of, but there's a lot of it's just an adjustment with your entire lifestyle. And when you're 18 years old, that lifestyle changes from going into McDonald's and having milkshakes and burgers and all that. So we respected the fact that he had to make a tough call, make a decision. Obviously, we'd love to have had him as a general manager. I'd love to have had him in a Brewers uniform. But as a father, I also understand you got an 18-year-old son that might be leaving you and going out on his own and trying to manage that can be a difficult situation.
And because you were not able to sign him, the ramifications of that for next year are?
We get a 15th pick in the first round next year. And that if we would have done the physical after we had agreed to terms, we would not have gotten the draft pick. So that's why it was important to get that physical, the blood work, everything prior to signing him. So big disappointment on our part in the end. I think Dylan, it's going to be okay for Dylan. Worked out. It will be okay for us. Next year's draft is a strong draft, and maybe 3 years from now he's going to be a top college pitcher, and it ended amicably so that he still may have a chance to wear a Brewer uniform. It just may be in a different year.
We certainly wish him the best. Casey McGee at the plate. Brewers bring the tying run to the plate here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And it's Braun and Fielder who extend the inning with a walk and a single. And now McGee, who hit one off the top of the center field wall in the 1st inning, a chance to do some damage again. Boy, the numbers this guy has put up in his year plus in the big leagues. You have to think about McGee along the same lines as Braun and Fielder earlier in their careers.
Yeah, someone told me yesterday that if you take a look at Casey McGee's numbers and David Wright's numbers, they're pretty close over the last 2 years. I think David Wright has a little better on base percentage because he does walk more. But when it comes to the doubles, home runs, and RBIs, they are right neck and neck with their numbers over the past 2 years. So Casey's been a great find by our scouting department, and he's such a clutch hitter too. He's the kind of guy that tough situations you see him up there, and those kind of hitters that hit well in scoring with runners and scoring positions, they do use the whole field.
Now, you anticipated this type of success for Casey and Corey Hart based on their springs?
Yeah, I knew that. I think we all learn a lesson that spring training doesn't mean a whole lot. I remember Greg Nettles used to say, give me the last 7 days.
Oh, McGee, left field, and his way back, and it's gone! Casey McGee has tied the game. Number 20 for McGee.
Boy, is he clutch.
Just like that, the Brewers with some 2-out lightning against Wade LeBlanc.
And the thing about Casey, Doug, is he's so good at using the center of the field and over to right center.
Right.
From time to time, they'll give him something to pull, like that changeup that stayed up in the zone, and he just hit a bullet out of here. Covers all the field so well.
Well, I think that's important. If you look at any big RBI guy, most of them do. Adrian Gonzalez is another guy that he can use the whole field. He'll hit the ball to left center.
Into the bowl of soup.
Pretty good numbers.
The Friday's Front Row Grill.
You talk about, clutch. Here's a good number. 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Casey this year, 345. Take that any day, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's that's why he's having the year. He had one little stretch where maybe he went through a little bit of a lull, but you look at these guys and it's so hard to be consistent month after month over the course of a baseball season, but he has been this year. He's been pretty darn good.
Well, McGee now with 4 runs batted in, and that gives him 81 RBIs for the year, and all of a sudden Casey McGee is tied for second in the National League in RBIs.
I knew that too.
He's tied with Joey Votto and Ryan Howard, and Albert Pujols is the league leader.
If you try to figure this game out, guys, it's not easy.
That's when you're in trouble. When you get in trouble when you think you have it figured out, right?
Yeah.
See, we depend on our analyst Bill Schroeder to give us kind of our talking points, and all he wanted to talk about was the pitching today.
Well,
pitching. And here we are. It's 5-5. There's 10 runs on the board, and we're in the 3rd inning.
That's why I'm sitting here and I'm not in the big seat.
Well, the one thing with Casey is that I'm always a big believer. I give any player that works hard at it, and he's a baseball player, but players that work hard at it are passionate about it. They don't have a lot of other distractions. It's all about coming to the park every day. You got to give those guys a chance. Probably a little longer rope than you do somebody else.
Right.
It's the individual that thinks he belongs here and he thinks he's going to be here by just showing up, and it just doesn't happen that way. You can show up, but you got to do a lot more than just show up. In case you come here to work.
Well, Doug, you go out with an exclamation point. Thanks for your time. Last night was an opportunity to spend an evening with Hank Aaron in the Nice Stadium Club here at Miller Park. Hammerin' Hank was in attendance, and his wife, Billy Suber Aaron, was the keynote speaker. Proceeds from the event supported Hank Aaron's Chasing the Dream Foundation to help children with limited opportunities develop and pursue their dreams. Good night here at the old ballpark, guys. You got that right, Telly. Anytime you can see Hank Aaron in person, especially here at Miller Park. He loves Milwaukee, and it's always great to see Hank Aaron. I wish we could have seen Hank Aaron, but It's good to see him on the video. Brand new ball game here. Casey McGee, a 3-run home run, and it is all tied up at 5. A base hit to start this inning by Everett Cabrera. Boy, the hits are just pouring out tonight for both clubs.
It's amazing that third inning for Milwaukee. 2 outs, nobody on. Back-to-back strikeouts, Weeks and Hart, and then a great at-bat by Ryan Braun to draw that walk. He got down in the count early. Took a very close pitch on a 3-2 count and opened the door for the Case McGee home run. A good inning. Always nice catching up with Doug.
Yeah, Doug was just telling us between innings that Carlos Gomez will be returning to Milwaukee tomorrow. He still has a couple of days on the disabled list, but they want to get him back in the group here with the big leaguers, and they will probably make a decision on Monday what to do with Gomez. The transaction would come on the off day. Monday's an off day for the Brewers. So that's the story. You might see Gomez at the ballpark tomorrow, but he will not be activated tomorrow, according to the general manager. And he said he's been doing some good work down there with Sandy Guerrero.
Making some adjustments. Yep.
We'll see what Gomez brings back to the big leagues after the concussion put him on the disabled list. You might remember Sandy Guerrero has been the home run derby pitcher for the two Brewers entrants the last couple of years. Corey Hart this year and Prince Fielder, the home run derby in St. Louis 2 years ago. That's the Sandy Guerrero we're talking about.
Well, you hope Carlos Gomez isn't playing home run derby down in the minors.
No, anything but a home run derby for Gomez. He's the other kind of player. So the Padres with a leadoff base runner. They have 5 runs on 5 hits. Same as the Crew. LeBlanc is up there to bunt once again. And Gallardo's only play is first. So the second sacrifice bunt. Time now for the U.S. Cellular Text to Vote question of the week. We'll give you tonight's results during Brewers Live. We have the total results on Sunday's postgame show. The question this week is, which Brewers rookie has impressed you the most this season? You can text your answer to 234-234. The corresponding letter for your favorite Brewers rookie. I think Lorenzo Cain, if he continues to swing the bat like he did against Adam Wainwright, will charge up that leaderboard.
Not many have. Not against that guy anyway.
So many interesting stats coming off the 2-game sweep of the Cardinals, and especially that last win against Wainwright. The Brewers handed Wainwright his first loss at home this year and his first loss during a day game this season. And Cain became only the second hitter to have 2 extra base hits in a game against Wainwright this year. That's incredible to think about how good Wainwright has been.
And some of the good hitters that he's had to face.
Only Vernon Wells with multiple extra base hits. He hit 2 home runs against Wainwright. So Cain's the only National Leaguer to have 2 extra base hits against Adam Wainwright.
Something else.
Cain had a double and a triple.
And when you look at the pitching that the Brewers have had to face the last 3 games, not even including tonight, Ubaldo Jimenez, and they laid 10 hits on Jimenez, and that's a season high for Ubaldo. Jaime Garcia, one of the top rookies in the National League. He's in the top 10 in earned run average. And then Adam Wainwright, who needs no explanation. That guy, something else. But the Brewers fared pretty well throughout that 3-game stretch.
Two balls, no strikes on Venable. Runner at second with 1 away. Venable drove in a pair of runs with a double in the second. Back at Wednesday's action, Lorenzo Cain. He got the start against Wainwright. Ken Maka said, I want to see what this kid can do against an ace. And boy, did he respond in a big way.
Yep, cutter, fastball. That inning that he had when he hit that double, he stole third and then was able to score on a little dribble in front of home plate. It pretty much gives you a little bit of a summary as to what that kid can bring to the table.
2 hits, a stolen base. He scored 2 of the 3 runs, did Cain. And now Lucroy on his way to the mound. It's been a grinder today for Lucroy and Gallardo.
Yep, Yvonne working on an extra day's rest. You don't know how much that's affected him here. He's thrown very well since coming off the disabled list. 3-1 since coming off the DL with that oblique strain. But having a rough time of it here tonight. Gave up 4 runs his last time out, but he pitched a lot better than that against Colorado.
Big out to get here. Tejada would be next. And then Adrian Gonzalez. Good cut by Venable.
You got to work this guy up in the zone. I mean, we've seen that for the last couple of years. And that double that he hit in the second inning was a slider that was down and away. He went down and got it. He likes the ball down. Elevate the fastball up and in if you can get it there.
And Venable draws a walk. So Gallardo tried to go upstairs with a fastball. And a little too high for Venable's liking. And 2 more base runners against Giovanni. AT&T trivia. Who are the 3 catchers on the Brewers roster in 1983? 3 catchers on the roster in '83. Brock does not have a say. Let's just put it this way. 2 of them are in the ballpark tonight, right? Here is Tejada. First and second, 1 out. Gallardo could use a ground ball here. Certainly don't want to face Adrian Gonzalez with men on base. He's the next hitter. It's a lot of trips to the mound tonight from Lucroy.
Yeah, just a little bit out of rhythm is Giovanni Gallardo. You can just see it. You can see it from the first inning. It's one of those starts you just got to battle through. Already 68 pitches.
And now Rick Peterson is on his way to the mound.
Yep, already activity on that Brewers pen. Looks like Capuano getting loose.
Well, you never want to have the bullpen active in the 4th inning with your ace on the mound. But Gallardo has had base runners on in every inning but the 3rd. He did have a 3-up, 3-down inning in the 3rd inning. But has come back and put 2 on here in the 4th. And now the middle of this Padres order is coming up.
Well, the Brewers pen should be in pretty good shape. An off day yesterday. They have another off day on Monday. And they had an off day before that St. Louis series. So 3 off days in a stretch of about a week. Always helps the bullpen.
Well, with the visits to the mound from the catcher, the pitching coach, the step off from Gallardo, they've gotten Chris Capuano about 10 extra pitches down in the bullpen. Just missed.
Well, he's still not going to be ready for Adrian Gonzalez if you're thinking about that. He still just started to throw off the mound. I think they're going to leave Yo out there if he's going to be able to get through the inning. But if he shows any more signs of any type of problems out there, he might be done.
Next lefty after Gonzalez is Chase Headley. Headley, a switch hitter and a batter you probably rather have from the right side than the left.
As a right-handed hitter, he's hitting .207.
Two and 0 to count.
He's just having a tough time getting that ball down in the zone. He really is. Pretty much all of his pitches, for that matter. You know, the fastball, the slider, the curveball. A lot of pitches hanging up in the zone, and that is very unusual for Gallardo.
in tight. Man, oh man, Gallardo is really scuffling tonight. His offense has kept him in it. Casey McGee has driven in 4 runs already for the Brewers. It's 5-5. And somewhere Gallardo is trying to find it. See if Tejada has a green light, 3-0. He doesn't, and Gallardo misses badly. And now here comes big trouble. The bases are loaded, and Adrian Gonzalez is coming up. Nowhere to put him.
And 5 walks already for Yo. Just having a tough time finding the rhythm, the release point. The mechanics don't seem to be there tonight.
So Gonzalez digs in, and the biggest at bat of the ball game here. Gonzalez homered in the first inning, was intentionally walked his last time up. Fouled that one right off his foot.
Be a good time to get some pitches down in the zone with this guy up. Keeping the ballpark, you might ground into a double play. He's only grounded into 8 this year.
Cabrera runs very well at third base. So anything medium deep in the outfield, he's going to score from third. And Gallardo misses. So a ball and a strike. Adrian Gonzalez leads the National League in batting average with runners in scoring position. He's hitting at .416. He's tied with his teammate, as a matter of fact, Ryan Ludwig. And that one's into right. Coming in is Hart. That's going to fall. A base hit. The throw comes to the plate. It's late. Cabrera scores on a base hit to right by Gonzalez.
What was he doing? Corey Hart deked him out there a little bit, but you know, he threw the glove up as if he was going to be able to get it, and that turned out to be a pretty close play. Remember, that was a force out. If that throws on money and Luco is able to keep his foot on home plate, Cabrera's an out. Good job of holding the runner with that move right there. He throws it in a little bit off the mark. Look how close it would have been. This throws on the money at home plate. They have a chance to get him.
Now that's going to mean the end for Gallardo tonight. One of his worst starts of the season. 6 runs in, bases still loaded, and he'll give way to Chris Capuano. We'll take a break.
A $10 ticket in the club Goodwill bleachers section at the ticket windows in left field. Goodwill, offering value in our stores, ballpark, and community.
What a wild game it has been so far. Gallardo is out. The Brewers ace chased after 3 1/3, and now it's Chris Capuano trying to get the final 2 outs of the 4th inning. The bases are still loaded. It's 6-5 San Diego, and Capuano will face Ryan Ludwig.
And 16th appearance for Cappy in a 4.44 earned run average. Last pitched on Friday against the Rockies through a scoreless inning and struck out a couple of batters.
So here comes Ryan Ludwig, who's always been a good hitter in the clutch. Capuano, a lot like Wade LeBlanc. He is a changeup specialist, has a great changeup. And he's hoping to not only get out of this inning, but give Ken Maka a few innings here to try to bridge the gap to the later innings of this game. Skipper going to his bullpen with his ace on the mound in the 4th.
And never expected that.
There's that changeup, and Ludwig way out in front.
Yeah, acts a lot like a cut fastball, but just pulls the string on it at 79 miles an hour. Yeah, the cutter for Capuano about 84, 85. Fastball topping out right now at about 89 to 90 once in a while. And Ludwig way out in front.
Capuano celebrating his 32nd birthday yesterday. And I like what Mike Vasallo had to say about that. In recognition of this event, the team enjoyed an off day yesterday. That was nice of him to schedule that for Capuano. He's been through a lot for a 32-year-old. You know what I mean?
Yes, he has.
2 Tommy John surgeries. He's been an all-star.
There has been a lot of wear and tear on that arm.
He has Ludwig down, a ball and 2 strikes. Brewers could use a ground ball to get him out of it. Good play back there by Lucroy. 2-2 the count.
Yep, that changeup, that's where you need it. Yeah, good sequence. Changeup for a strike, and then he went back to the fastball and jammed Ludwig, and then he went back to the changeup again. Throw another one.
Ready for a 2-2. And a swing and a miss. He struck him out. Made him look bad, too. Capuano comes in, picks up a big strikeout in the 4th.
And he did. He threw another one. Well done. You see where that ball moves down and in. A very unusual thing for a left-hander. Capuano just continued to pound that changeup. There's strike 1. Then he comes in with a fastball. This right there, that pitch right there kind of got into the head of Ludwig, and then the 4th changeup in that sequence, he's able to get him. That good job by Capuano. Good job by Lucroy to go right to that changeup. You can see the spin on it and watch it go down and in.
It's a great look from our crew. It's one of the few pitchers that can manipulate his changeup both ways. He can make it cut down and into a right-handed batter. He can tail it away. Now Chase Headley, the switch hitter, with 2 outs. Headley hit a 2-run homer in the 1st. Padres scored 3 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd. They've added 1 here in the 4th.
Yeah, changeup, it's all about the position of the hand on the baseball. You saw the 4 fingers on the side of the baseball. That's the one that will cut down and into a right-hander. If he has the fingers on top, that's the straight changeup. And sometimes that will go away from a right-handed hitter. And the catcher doesn't know which one's coming.
Fastball jammed it right at Weeks, and a flip to Escobar. Capuano gets out of it. That might be the turning point right there. The Padres do score, and they lead 6-5.
balls here at Miller Park. Casey McGee ties it up off of Wade LeBlanc, a 3-run shot. Casey with 4 RBIs tonight. And Adrian Gonzalez goes way back off the batter's eye. Gallardo having a rough start today. 3 1/3. Headley with a home run to right. Well, the Padres not expecting to hit home runs. They've got 2. The Brewers off and running here at Miller Park, able to come back and tie it up. Currently, the Padres with a 6-5 lead.
So here's Escobar to lead off. Escobar, Lucroy, and the pitcher spot. See if Capuano is going to continue here. The bullpen is quiet for now, so that leads you to believe that Capuano will hit. So what we have now is a pair of left-handers matching up in LeBlanc and Capuano. A couple of change-up artists.
Back in the day, Cappy could swing the bat.
Hope he hasn't forgotten how. He hasn't hit much this year.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Had a couple of starts and sporadic at-bats for Chris Capuano. But last time LeBlanc went through the bottom of the order, he retired him in order. Back in the second. Brewers have done their damage out of the 5th spot of the batting order tonight. Casey McGee, Escobar, and that's a base hit over the head of Tejada. The hits keep coming. That's number 6 for Milwaukee. Escobar with his first and a leadoff base runner for the Brew Crew in the 4th inning.
Yeah, once again able to stay back, and on that changeup from LeBlanc off the end of the bat, actually down in the trademark. So good job by Escobar staying back in that high pitch and able to fight it off out of the reach of Tejada. Well, a good start to the 4th for Milwaukee, their first leadoff hitter aboard.
Jonathan Lucroy now with a runner at first. Escobar is a base stealer. Getting more opportunities to steal bases once Ken Maka put him in the 7th spot in the batting order. Moved him out of the 8th spot, and that allowed him some extra opportunities. Remember, the Brewers haven't seen a lot of Wade LeBlanc. Certainly Escobar has not seen a lot of him. Just the one start earlier this season. Lucroy, deep left field. That is way back, and it's gone! Jonathan Lucroy. Just like that, the Brewers have the lead, an unexpected power source.
Jonathan Lucroy able to wait back. That's a changeup again. Maybe a little cut fastball. Not sure. Yeah, cutter. Down and in. And he gets ahead of the bat out. Knocks it out of here way back and left. And no doubt. And I'll tell you, Jonathan ran so fast by Eddie Cedar. He was barely able to get the high five. He almost missed first base. You see how fast he was running on that home run? He slowed down a bit between first and second.
How about this game? Milwaukee has the lead 7-6 on the Lucroy home run. That's just the 3rd home run for Lucroy. It's his first since June 29th, and he went down and golfed one out of here.
Yes, he did. A cutter down and in, and just dropped the head of the bat on. I think Eddie's high five actually slowed Jonathan down a bit, almost knocked him off balance.
That might have been the only reason he touched first base. He might have had to come back if Ed Cedar is not standing there. So while Lucroy still needs a little more seasoning with his home run trot, he gives the Brewers the lead in this wild game at Miller Park here tonight. As Capuano rolls one, Gonzalez, a slick fielder, makes a nice play. And that is the first out of the inning.
Well, at least you can't, accuse Jonathan of watching the home run. There it is. Almost forgot about first base. Atta baby. That's got to feel good for him. Nice stroke by Capuano. I told you he could hit.
That's going to do it for Wade LeBlanc. It's only the second time this year he's given up more than 4 runs in a game. He gave up 8 against the Mariners in May. He has given up 7 here tonight. We'll take a break.
Good technique right there. Head down. Look at how the head going down and straight down that front leg. And Jonathan able to center it up, gets a sweet spot on it, and knocks it on out of here.
Well, the Brewers chased the starter Wade LeBlanc after 3 of the third. It's his second shortest start of the season. And Tim Stauffer will take over, his 21st appearance of the year. Look at that ERA, 0.98 this season, covering 36+ innings.
Yeah, this bullpen is a pretty good group. A 276 earned run average for the guys coming out of the bullpen for the Padres. So all the talk about the starting rotation and the fact that they've only given up 8 runs in total in their last 7 starts. Bullpen equally as good.
Stauffer with that nasty slider. Facing Ricky Weeks. 1 man out here in the 4th inning. A 2-run homer by Lucroy has the Brewers on top, 7-6. McGee with a 3-run homer in the 3rd. Padres have home runs from Adrian Gonzalez and Chase Headley. A hot one to second, right at Cabrera. And the second out of the inning. So our AT&T trivia tonight has to do with Brewers catchers. We take you back to 1983. Who were the 3 catchers on the roster that year? Of course, you know The Rock was there. Bill Schroeder, Ted Simmons, and Ned Yost. And Charlie Moore actually caught 7 games. What was going on there, Rob?
Yeah, well, he was in right field most of the time. And Ted Simmons, the bench coach for the San Diego Padres, former bench coach for the Milwaukee Brewers.
And he was the bench coach for Ned Yost.
And I got called up in July that year because Simmons was hurt, Charlie was hurt, and Ned Yost was hurt. So I got the call.
Nice. And you were still the backup. How's that possible?
And then once Ned Yost was healthy, I got sent back.
Oh, that's too bad.
It's okay. It's fun.
How'd that meeting go? I feel bad for you.
Schroeder, don't feel bad for me.
I see you in my office.
Got big league time. It was good.
I see you now.
Made a team out of spring training next year, though.
You act like you're being interviewed right now. You can give us the truth now.
Oh, no.
All these years later.
I was delighted to be in the big leagues.
That was before you knew you were a big leaguer. You're still a big leaguer. So if you had expectations of being a big leaguer. And you call Ted Simmons one of your great mentors. You speak very highly of Ted Simmons.
Simmons is a guy that I have a lot of respect for as far as knowing the game of baseball.
Base hit right center. Corey Hart sends one to the gap. Ludwig able to cut it off, and that's going to hold Hart to a single.
And Ted Simmons very good at teaching young players, and I think that's why he's been such a good bench coach. The non-physical part of the game of baseball, the mental side of the game, what you should be thinking about, what you should be doing, where guys should be, how to call a game. Those are the types of things that he taught me back in '83 and 1984. We lockered right next to each other. It was me, Ned Yost, and Ted Simmons right in between the both of us. And that was not by accident.
Simba.
I would have to classify Simba as a no-nonsense type of guy. If he had something to say to you, he'll just say it, whichever way he felt like saying it to you, and you could either take it or leave it.
Now, many have wondered why Simmons is not managing, and it has a lot to do with some health concerns for Ted Simmons.
Had some heart issues when he was the general manager of the Pirates. That'll slow you down a bit.
He's seen the game from a lot of angles. He's played, he's coached, he scouted. He's been a general manager. And he and Bud Black have formed a pretty good team running the San Diego Padres ball club.
There's no coincidence that Ned Yost brought him on. May very well manage at some point. You don't know. Never too late, is it?
Think about Jack McKeon when he came back. The 1-2 to Braun. Down in the dirt. Good block by Torey Alba.
Yeah, two pretty good catchers the Brewers they'll face, not just in this series, but Yadier Molina with the Cardinals. And Torey Alba doesn't take a back seat to many, but he might very well take a back seat to Molina. I think everybody takes a back seat to Molina right now. But Torey Alba, no slouch.
Well, see if Braun can do some damage with 2 away. Remember, it was Braun's walk with 2 outs in the 3rd inning that started the rally. That was some kind of at-bat by Ryan Braun. Worked the count full. He ended up drawing the walk. Fielder singled, and then McGee hit the 3-run homer. Braun is 1 for 1 tonight with a walk, 2 runs, and an RBI. He drove in the first Brewers run in the 1st.
Yeah, the Brewers have already matched their home run output for the last road trip.
And go figure that Milwaukee scored just 2 runs in a 4-game series in San Diego earlier this season. That's it. It was a Ricky Weeks home run and a Giovanni Gallardo home run.
And they won a game.
Yeah. It was in the same game. They were shut out the other 3 games.
Right.
Now 7 on the board on 8 hits. Hart takes off, down in the dirt. Braun draws the walk, and that's going to get Fielder a chance in this 4th inning.
And Ryan's showing some good patience at the plate tonight.
Who said this was going to be a pitcher's duel tonight? 14 hits and 13 runs combined. Fielder already batting for the 3rd time. 2 on, 2 out. Lucroy's home run has the Crew on top in the 4th inning. Stauffer's been on the disabled list. He was reinstated at the beginning of July. He went on the DL in early May and an appendicitis, and he missed 46 games this year. This was the guy that we saw in San Diego earlier this season. The Brewers were there just before he went on the DL. And he had a scoreless inning streak of 17 1/3 to start the year. A little half swing from Fielder. That's a foul ball and a strike, and it's 2-2.
Everything moves out of his hand. He's got a good sinker. It goes down and away to Prince. And then he got that slider going down and in. Prince tried to hold up, but he committed. Not too many guys that come out of that Padres bullpen are throwing ice ball. They're tough to hit.
Down and in. Interesting that Stauffer's batting average against with lefties at the plate, a .125. Right-handers hitting .284 against him. So even though he has the matchup, he's much better against lefties. Crowd once more. 2 runs already in. And Fielder's worked it to a full count. The runners will start with the pitch. Big at bat early in this game. And another check on Corey Hart.
That's just indecision on the part of Tim Stauffer. Not sure what he wants to do to Prince. He'd like to get an out other than having to throw Prince a fastball.
Well, Casey McGee is on deck.
Another breaking ball. That one stayed up.
Everybody's all right down there on that hot shot from Fielder. I'm sure that guy jumped in there and made the play. Unlike in Houston.
Saved it, right?
Crowd is up. Full count. The runners go. Fielder slashes one the other way. Snuck a fastball in there, but Fielder able to stay alive.
And got it up in the zone. Straightens out when you have good sink on your fastball. Keep it down, you get the moving. When it stays up in the zone, it flattens out. And Prince had a pretty good pitch to hit.
Just missed inside. Fielder draws the walk. Whoa. Close pitch.
Hey, comeback sinker off the inside corner. I tell you, looked pretty close. Goodness. You can't get it much closer and not be a strike. Whoa, boy. Tough pitch to take. He got that late movement. It started in off the corner, but was trying to catch that edge and just missed. Look at Toriyama hold it there. That means he thinks it was a strike.
Now the Brewers might have caught a break. Fielder draws the walk. He leads the major leagues in walks now with 80. And the man of the hour is coming up. And he can make an already good night a career night. McGee back in the third. Went deep. A 3-run homer that tied the game at 5. He had an RBI double in the first inning. He missed a home run by inches in the first. The Powerball home run leaderboard has McGee with 20 now. One of 4 Brewers with 20 or more home runs this season. Here comes Casey. Seven to 6 Brewers. And McGee takes a slider away. McGee's career high for runs batted in is 6 in a single game. He did that last September against Arizona.
Yeah, back-to-back breaking balls to get ahead. Get back in that count at 1-1. Casey early in the count, probably looking something middle in, maybe one of those sinkers up. Stauffer threw 2 sliders.
Bases loaded, 2 outs. another breaking ball that missed. The 4 RBIs that McGee has posted tonight has him in a tie for second in the National League. He's joined Ryan Howard and Joey Votto. Has 81 ribbies, only Pujols with more. Three balls and a strike. Nothing but breaking balls from Stoffel. And now a hitter's count for McGee. Does he dare throw him another slider? Casey down the line. That is foul. He just got out ahead of it. And the count goes full.
That was a slider speed, but didn't look like a slider. That ball stayed right in the middle of the plate. Where Casey hooks it foul, a little bit out in front. Nothing but breaking pitches to Casey McGee in this at bat. As he go to the fastball in 3-2.
McGee has 2 career grand slams. His home run in the third came with 2 strikes. Runners go, the 3-2, and it's right down the middle. McGee down on strikes. He went with a fastball, and he surprised him. McGee is gone, but Jonathan Lucroy golfs one. Seven to 6, the Brewers lead the Padres as we go to the 5th. And it's time now for our Cabot Woodstain's legendary performance. On this day just 2 years ago, the World Umpires Association and Major League Baseball agreed to use the instant replay rule with hopes that it would be in place within a year. WUA President John Hirschbeck says he told his members it would be a tool to help make sure they got the call correct. There's been a lot of talk about adding to Major League Replay. And we'll see where that heads as we move through the season this year and the off season with that special group that the commissioners put together. Capuano back on the mound, facing Yorvik Torrealba. Tell you what, when it's all said and done, if the Brewers go on to win this game, the turning point could be Capuano's 2 outs in the 4th. He came in with a bases loaded, a run in, and he struck out Ryan Ludwig.
And that set the tone for that particular inning. The end of that inning anyway, striking out Ludwig, not allowing him to get a run on the board.
Capuano makes a nice play on a soft liner. First out of the 5th inning.
Look at the way Capuano was able to field his position. The ball wasn't hit very hard, but he was able to make the adjustment.
So the changeup pitcher gets a changeup off the bat in return. One gone in the fifth. Here's DeNorfia. I was just talking to some of the Padre folks. We were talking about Tony Gwynn Jr. DeNorfia starting for Gwynn here tonight. And he will, in fact, have surgery on that wrist. I'm not sure if the surgery, they said Friday, but I'm not sure if it's next Friday or today Friday. But either way, it's going to knock Gwynn out for the season. And Bud Black is on the record to say he'll split time in center field between Venable and Scott Hairston and DeNorfia, who gets the call tonight.
And Scott Hairston really having a tough time. Remember Hairston back in San Diego? He had a big series, as did his brother Jerry.
Well, the Padres are hoping when they get David Eckstein back that they can move Jerry Hairston more into an outfield position. Jerry Hairston was supposed to start at second base tonight, but he is ill and not available to start. Uncertain whether he'll be available to hit later in this game. Full count to DeNorfia, who singled and scored earlier. And that's ball four. This might be one of those nights when that phone rings in the bullpen, they go running for cover. Anybody but me on a night like this.
Yeah, the best pitching team in all of the National League, and Yvonne Gallardo on the mound, and here we are in the fifth inning and 13 runs on the board. Neither starter in the game. Both of them going 3 in the third. They don't play it on paper. It's a good thing.
I think tomorrow we should talk about the offense.
Pretty good chance we're gonna.
You never know, though. Who knows what might happen tonight? We might see something we've never seen. I think kind of the undercurrent of excitement that is building is that you could have a Trevor Hoffman save against his old team, the Padres, and set him up for that 600th career save. He's 2 away. But Ken Maka is keeping those cards very close to the vest. We asked him today more than once. He said, I don't know who I'm going to use to close the game. It all depends on the situation. Well, I'll let you know.
Did you think he was going to have to close out the Cardinal game the other day?
He came on and
3-0. Randy Wolf is just cruising along. All of a sudden, Axford comes trotting out, and he has troubles. The defense having a problem. And lo and behold, there's Trevor. 3 pitches and gets a save.
Goes a third of an inning. Made it look easy.
It's been a while since Trevor's gotten a save and only had to get 1 out. All the way back to 08.
When he was pitching for the Padres. There's a chance for 2 here. Escobar to Weeks, 2-fielder. Nicely done. Capuano, a scoreless 5th. He gets a double play ball to end it. And the Brewers keep their lead. Presented by the Wisconsin Lottery and its family of instant scratch games. Odds are you'll like them. By Airtran. Go, there's nothing stopping you. And by GMC. We are professional grade. Lorenzo Cain leads off for Milwaukee as we head to the bottom of the fifth. And a rough night for Yovani Gallardo as he inserts himself into the broadcast. That was just a cameo for Yo. Or was I imagining things? Did Yovani Gallardo just appear on our television sets?
I saw it too.
That was a very poltergeist moment, wasn't it?
Kind of scared me.
It kind of had like a little static sound. And then he came in and he said, "They're back." Look, there he is again. That was on purpose. All right, we're all right. Gremlins, Rock. Lorenzo Cain with a base hit to right. So a single for Cain into the alley in right center.
Well, tonight's time of the game winner is Sisters Saloon in St. Germain. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, Sisters Saloon gives 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a 2010 or 2011 April or May Milwaukee Brewers home game. That's offered courtesy of Yovani Gallardo, the Tavern League of Wisconsin, and Miller Lite.
Well done. Yovani had no idea he was going to be such a big part of the broadcast. Brewers took Gallardo off the hook, 3 1/3, 6 runs, and Capuano came on. He's been sharp. Leadoff base runner for Milwaukee, and Escobar the batter. Escobar singled in the fourth. He was on when Lucroy went deep to left to give the Brewers the lead. Saw Derek Lee made his debut for the Braves today against the Cubs. Was 0 for 4. A couple strikeouts, had a line drive out.
Cubs lost again.
Braves came back and won that game on a Rick Ankiel. Now playing for Atlanta. Bases loaded, clearing Gapper. I think it was a double.
Yep, off of Carlos Marmol.
Yep, Marmol took the loss, and the Cubs continue to struggle. San Diego swept the Cubs in a 4-gamer. Atlanta, they're feeling those heavy footsteps of the Philadelphia Phillies right now, but the Braves keep winning. And you figure Lee is going to be an impact-type player for them. Atlanta was very busy at the trade deadline as well, much like San Diego. They made a deal getting Alex Gonzalez from Toronto, Rick Ankiel, Kyle Farnsworth, and just adding Derek Lee. They put Troy Gloss on the DL.
Hey, which is why they picked up Derek Lee. Everybody wondered what they're going to do with Troy Gloss. And lo and behold, they pick up Lee, and apparently something going on with Gloss. He's disabled. Got a bad knee.
Atlanta has a 2.5-game lead to start the day. Now 3 as they await the Phillies tonight. Philadelphia in second. Wild card race is tight in the National League as well.
It's not too early to be talking about the wild card. We're in mid-August. Toward the end, the 20th. It's hard to believe it's the 20th of August already.
Starting play today, the Phillies a 1-game lead over the Giants, and then the Cardinals 2-back. San Francisco has a 5-1 lead over St. Louis in the 7th inning at Busch. So the Giants putting some runs on Jake Westbrook tonight. Madison Bumgarner is pitching for the Giants and pitching well.
Cardinals having a tough time scoring runs, which is why it's somewhat perplexing that they would get rid of Ryan Ludwig.
as if they need more pitching.
Now, most of the National League contenders are built the same, with the exception of the Phillies. The Phillies pitch, they certainly do. They have Halladay and Roy Oswalt, Cole Hamels. But they have plenty of sock in their lineup as well. And they're getting healthy now. Howard's expected back perhaps next week. They got Utley back this week. Jimmy Rollins is healthy again.
Did you see him the other day running? Boy, he's healthy. Boy, he can fly.
Runner goes, and Escobar fouls it away.
Torrealba reaching it. Could have been very close to Escobar hitting his glove with his bat. You never want to reach too much with a hitter up there, and you never know if he's going to swing and hit your glove. That's an error and an interference. Watch him reach. You get that glove too far out, actually that ball was in the dirt. Never want to reach unless the ball's away.
Pitch number 9 of the at-bat. Escobar into center field, right at the north field. So a good battle for Escobar. He lines out, and Kane has to retreat. This is what it looks like right now. The division races in the American and National League. It's a great race going on in the American League East. The Yankees and the Rays, maybe the Red Sox can fight their way in. Twins have opened up a 4-game lead. Texas has the largest lead in any division. And then the Braves and the Reds and the Padres, the division leaders.
Look at the Red Sox, 16 games over 500 and 6 games back, 6.5 games back, 6 games back. And in the wild card, they're 5.5 games back to the Tampa Bay Rays. 16 games over 500.
Yeah, tough division.
Man.
Lucroy sends one out to Cabrera for out number 2.
And Toronto's 6 games over 500, nowhere to be found. PNC Bank will light up the sky with a post-game fireworks show right here at Miller Park following the Brewers game on Friday, August 27th. A 15-minute show will begin after the conclusion of the Brewers game, weather and game time permitting.
Fireworks show.
Been a while since we've had one here.
They shoot off fireworks right before first pitch every night, just a few.
Pittsburgh Pirates will be in town. That's a Friday night.
Capuano batting for the second time. He hit a hot ground ball in the 4th. Gonzalez made a nice play on him for the out. Kane, who started this inning with a single, still standing at first base. Slashes one to the opposite field. Capuano with a base hit. So Chris Capuano doing it on the mound and doing it at the plate.
No, just living up to the rest of the pitching staff, swinging the bat. Not a bad pitch, down and away, and slices it into left field. I told you Cappy could swing the bat.
That's his first hit of the year. He's 1 for 3 this season. And it turns the lineup over. It gets Ricky Weeks in at bat here with 2 on. Darren Balsley, the Padres pitching coach. A quick visit with Stauffer.
Hey, the National League West leading Padres are here all weekend long, and tickets are going fast, but still available. Call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com today for ticket information. Padres, then the Dodgers come into town.
And then the Pirates. Long homestand for Milwaukee. 9 games over 10 days. And they're hoping to disrupt a pennant race here, facing the Padres. So Chris Capuano with his first base hit since 2007. And it gives Weeks a chance with 2 on and 2 out. For posterity's sake, for Bill Schroeder, Capuano in 07 hit 220. 9 for 41.
Handles the bat well. Did you think I was lying?
Not at all. I remember that. I was here for that. And just because he has another new ligament in his elbow, it shouldn't have changed his hitting style, right?
Right.
Didn't affect you at all.
I was the same hitter.
Exactly the same.
I'm not thinking you're meaning the same thing as for Capuano. Equally bad with or without ligament.
That's good. Oh, boy. A tremendous slouch, Rob.
Yeah, knowing you, you meant that in the best of
I
intentions.
did. Absolutely.
Absolutely, you did.
You took it to the dark side for comedic effect, as usual. You get Bill Schroeder and Bob Uecker together, and those two talk about beating up their own careers. It's a good laugh.
Best part of our baseball career is right now. Sitting in the booth talking about everybody else. In amazement most of the time.
How do you do that?
How do you stay back on a curveball like that? I tell you.
I love going to different ballparks around the league with Bill because the first thing he points out is how far the walk is from home plate to the dugout.
And how far the backstop is to home plate. On a first name basis with everybody in the first row. Hey, Bill, back again?
Big chance for Weeks. 2-2 the count. In the right center, that ball's well hit. And it is going to be off the wall. Kane will score. Here comes Capuano. The throw to the plate. Down is Capuano. He is out at home. Ran out of gas. Capuano thrown out. The inning is over, but Ricky Weeks drives in another run. And the Brewers have an 8-6 lead. It has been a night for the hitters so far. And this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Brewers. 8-6 Milwaukee. Boy, you can see the piano jump on the back of Chris Capuano coming around third base.
It took two pretty good throws to get him. Cappy runs pretty well, and a pretty good gamble by Brad Fisher, but you know, it's all about the defense for the Padres and execution and the fundamentals. They do that very well.
and able to cut down the run.
Good relay from San Diego to cut down Capuano. Now you wonder about Capuano's stamina. He is in great shape. There's no question about that. But trying to score from first base and immediately going out to the mound. We'll see how he fares. 8-6 Brewers. Capuano facing the pitcher here, Tim Stauffer.
Once again, keep in mind that the Padres bench is very thin tonight. Only 3 players available. And that includes Nick Hundley, the only other catcher. You got Matt Stairs, former Brewer, on the left side. And Scott Hairston.
And a strikeout for Capuano.
Now, this early in the ball game, Bud Black electing to keep Stauffer in and save his bullpen, or the remainder of his bullpen, at least so far. So that answers a question about Capuano. Nothing wrong with his stamina.
Top of the order now, Will Venable. Venable doubled in 2 runs in the second. He walked in the 4th. And he's 1 for 2 tonight. Will, the son of a former big leaguer, Max Venable. A little different body type than Max. Max played in the 80s. You were a teammate with Max, weren't you?
With the Angels. Yeah. Me and Max Venable and Glenn Hoffman were teammates.
All right. Glenn, the Padres' third base coach, and the older brother of Trevor Hoffman. Telly Hughes had an interview with Glenn Hoffman today on Brewers Live pregame, and talking about his younger brother and the saves, and he said it's not just the numbers up on the board. Trevor is 2 saves away from 600, but the kind of man he is and the player that he is, the teammate he is. Glenn says everywhere he goes, former teammates of Trevor come up to him and tell him about the impact that Trevor has had on them. And I'm sure that there are a number of Brewers relievers who would have the same conversation this weekend with Glenn.
Yeah, not just relievers. I mean, teammates in general, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher, starting pitcher, he rubs off on everybody. Rubs off on us up here. He's a throwback type player. He takes care of the young players. You don't see that much anymore.
Here's the 2-2, and Venable fouls it away, a fastball from Capuano.
And that's just not, talking about, teaching him how to play the game or how to pitch. It's taking care of him, buying him stuff, buying him soup, take him on a trip. Trevor last year at the end of the season took the whole bullpen to the Packer-Viking game up in Minneapolis and fit the whole bill. I mean, those are the types of things that he does for his teammates that nobody ever knows about.
Swing and a miss. Capuano back with a fastball. And there's that high fastball you were looking for, and Capuano picks up his 3rd strikeout.
Now, you got to get the ball up on this guy. I mean, there's no way you keep him down in the zone. I mean, it goes against all the conventional theories about pitching. You want to go up in the zone with this guy, even at only 90 miles an hour.
Now it's Tejada.
You know who used to be like that early in his career was Derek Lee. When he was with these Padres and with the Marlins, he was a dead low ball hitter, but he's certainly been able to make adjustments. You have to, or they'll kill you at this level.
Capuano is rolling right along here, putting it wherever he wants. 0-2 the count on Tejada. Can he finish strong? Back-to-back strikeouts to start the 6th. Working fast. Got him. Hey, how about that inning? Capuano strikes out the side. Nothing wrong with his stamina for sure. Started with an Adrian Gonzalez home run in the first inning. And then Chase Headley hit a 2-run homer in the first. Casey McGee would answer. A 3-run shot in the third inning to tie this game. Jonathan Lucroy with a 2-run homer. That was in the fourth inning, and that gave the Brewers the lead. Brewers have added one to it. It is now 8-6 Milwaukee. Both starters are long gone, LeBlanc and Gallardo. Capuano is the pitcher of record on the win side. And a new pitcher is in, even though Stauffer hit for himself last inning. Bud Black's going to go with Ryan Webb here. He makes his 40th appearance.
Yeah, that short bench, forced the Padres to have their relief pitcher get an at-bat. 40th appearance, the second time that Webb has been with the Padres this year, taking the roster spot of Tony Gwynn Jr. Got called up yesterday with the Padres.
And like Stauffer, he had a long consecutive scoreless inning streak as well. Back in late May and June, he put together a 14-inning streak of scoreless baseball. 8-6, the Brewers lead it. Hart will lead off. Corey Hart, then Braun, then Fielder. The last inning ended at the plate as Capuano was thrown out trying to score from first on a double by Weeks. But Capuano showing no worse for the wear. He comes out and strikes out the side in the sixth inning. Hard little jam shot. That's falling fast. Denorfia cannot get there. A base hit for Hart. Hart with 3 hits tonight, and the Brewers with their 12th base hit in this game.
And a little bit off the end of the bat. It's basically all Hart stuff by Webb. They're throwing the mid-90s. As you take a look at the in-game box score, the Mass Mutual in-game box score, good stuff for the Brewers. All up and down that batting order. Corey Hart, Casey McGee doing most of the damage tonight, but everybody, including Capuano, with at least 1 base hit tonight. So the offense spread around pretty good for the Brew Crew.
And a leadoff base runner here in the 6th. Here's Braun. Well, Braun's been right in the middle of the action tonight. He drove in the first run for the Crew in the first inning, had an RBI single, had a key walk to start a 2-out rally. That was the inning McGee hit the 3-run homer, and then he walked his last time up. So the Padres have yet to retire Braun. Braun made his major league debut against San Diego, in San Diego, back in 2007. It was late May of 07. Started his trek as the National League Rookie of the Year. Had a base hit in his first game, and then he homered in his second game. And very few in the history of the game have put together the numbers that Ryan Braun has at this point of his career. 3 times an All-Star. Again, the National League All-Star starter in the outfield this season.
He was in that 2 spot for a while, but not very long, was he? Moved to number 3 very quickly. They got Webb at 6'6", 210 pounds. This might be the tallest pitching staff in all of baseball.
And the tallest of them all, Chris Young, is still on the disabled list. He's 6'10", and he was the guy they were kind of counting on.
Right.
So here's a team that lost Chris Young, an all-star pitcher, traded away Jake Peavy last year. They have gotten monumental years from so many in their starting rotation and in their bullpen. Heath Bell is their veteran closer, but other than that, it's a lot of guys who are putting together career years,
and a lot of guys that aren't household names in baseball.
Luke Gregerson and Mike Adams. You might remember Adams as a Brewer.
Joe Thatcher, the only left-hander down in that bullpen.
Hit and run is on. Well placed in the right. Hart on his way to third. And base hit number 13, Braun delivers that one right to the vacated hole. And it's 1st and 3rd for the Brewers.
Boy, not much better than that to watch. A successful hit and run. Check out Braun. He's serving his pitch into the hole towards second base. That was a cutter that stayed middle in. And look at Braun. He pulled the hands in trying to hit it to the second baseman. Second baseman was covering. A lot of room out there. Check him out. Everett Cabrera. And not even go. Tried to deke him, but Corey Hart did a nice job picking up Brad Fisher. And made it into third base. Well done.
Well, Ken Maka does not call many hit and runs, so you figure that could have been hard on his own. And Braun delivers it into right field. So now 2 on, 1st and 3rd for Fielder. Brewers trying to add to their lead. It's 8-6. And nobody out in this 6th inning. San Diego, the hottest team in the league. They've won 5 in a row. They've won 9 of their last 10 games. The only other team with a longer winning streak, the Reds, they've won 6 in a row. But only 7 of their last 10. Padres took 2 out of 3 from the Giants, swept the Cubs. Fielder, center field, back is D'Onofrio. And he'll make the catch, plenty deep to score. Hart, Prince Fielder with an RBI, a sacrifice fly, and it's 9-6.
The Brewers really doing a nice job with runners in scoring position. 3 for 5 tonight with 6 RBIs. Doesn't count as an at-bat, but certainly an RBI with a man in scoring position. The sac fly deep enough to score Corey. Good base running by the Brewers. A couple of singles, a hit and run, and a sac fly to give them a 3-run lead.
And now Casey McGee comes up with Braun at first. McGee has 4 RBIs tonight, a double and a homer. At the plate presented by Wendy's. You see his night. He struck out with the bases loaded in the 4th.
I think Ryan looks like he wants to run. He's a big guy like Webb. Takes a while to get rid of the baseball. 6'6". Get those arms and legs going. A little bit slow to home plate. Let's see if Ryan decides to try and steal a base.
Braun leads the club in steals with 13. You want to know how stingy the Padres have been? Since the All-Star break, their pitching staff has only had 2 games where they've given up more than 6 runs. That covers 29 games.
We mentioned, at the beginning of the ball game that the last 7 starts by the Padres, they'd only allowed a combined 8 runs. And the starting rotation has been good until tonight.
They'll chop her out to short. Tejada flips. Cabrera turns and a double play. So the inning ends with the Brewers add 1 on. Fielder with an RBI, and it is presented by Miller Lite and the new Miller Lite Vortex bottle. Taste greatness. And by Toyota. Thank you for standing by us. For more information, visit buyatoyota.com. We're just getting started on this homestand. Game 1. And the Brewers will welcome in the Padres, the Dodgers, and the Pirates. Here's our Miller Lite What's on Tap the next 3 days. We're on WMLW tomorrow. And then Sunday, we're back on Fox Sports Wisconsin for the finale of the Padres series. Then the Dodgers come to town Tuesday. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap. Here at Miller Park, it is 9-6. The Brewers lead the San Diego Padres as we go to the 7th inning. Chris Capuano has come in and settled this game down for the Brewers on the mound. Can he give Ken Maka one more frame? He came in a hot spot in the 4th. San Diego had the lead. They had the bases loaded. And they got Ludwig and Headley. And now Gonzalez, a little jam shot for an out. Boy, Capuano has been impressive tonight. Good time now for our Coach Chunk Gaming Wisconsin text question. Ben in West Allis wants to know, will the Brewers let Trevor get save number 600 against the Padres if the opportunity comes up? And that very question was asked earlier today, and Ken Maka just smiled and said, I'll have to let you know. He said it'll be a save time decision.
Doesn't have to tell everybody what he's thinking.
Nope. Actually, it's more entertaining when he doesn't.
Well, you know what? Stay tuned. You got to stick around to the 9th inning to find out.
Wow, fastball right by Ludwig.
And it's all about the changeup. I mean, he establishes that changeup 79, 80 miles an hour, and then he's starting to elevate the fastball at 90 miles an hour. And when he first came up from the minor leagues, he wasn't getting anywhere near 90. He's starting to add some velocity. He's starting to feel better. Rhythm is pretty good.
Giovanni Gallardo started, and he struggled tonight. 3 1/3, gave up 6 runs. But Capuano has come on. He's given up just 1 base runner, and he wiped out that runner with a double play. And now Weeks takes care of Ludwig, and the 2 big boppers in his Padres batting order retire to start the 7th. Say we remind you to log on to foxsportswisconsin.com for the latest news, stories, interviews, and coverage of the Green Bay Packers, Wisconsin Badgers, and the Brewers. foxsportswisconsin.com, local teams, local sports, local connections, all dedicated to the hometown fan. Headley swings at the first pitch. Hart gives chase. And down in the corner, he's got it. And the inning ends, and Capuano keeps it going. He is dialed in tonight. 9-6 Brewers.
9-6 Brewers. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. What a job, Davey, by Chris Capuano. 11 batters faced, just 1 walk. He's in line to get a win here. A come-from-behind job.
Well, that's right, and I think he's done more than what Ken Maka wanted him to do because, right now it's a battle of the bullpens when both starters only went 3 1/3 innings. But, he's been very effective with his changeup.
All right, we're going to have full post-game coverage, of course, coming up. Plus, our on-field instructional line as Davey rejoins Rock. What are we going to have?
Well, we're going to talk about the responsibility of the on-deck hitter. Rock will be the catcher, I'll be the runner, and when that on-deck hitter should tell the runner to stand up or slide.
All right, I'll be watching from the corner.
I'm going to run over Rock.
All right. Brian and Bill?
Seems like you're missing an on-deck hitter, though, in that scenario. If you're going to be the catcher, Davey's going to be the runner.
We weren't going to tell you right now, but I think we do have an on-deck hitter.
I got plans. Is it a stay tuned situation?
No, no, you don't have to stay tuned. We already told you what's going on. We're a man short.
And it'll stay that way. I'm sure you can find a volunteer on your way down. I'd hate to miss it. I like to watch.
Well, in this scenario, you don't actually need a runner. You need the catcher, and you need the on-deck hitter.
I think you need a runner, though. I think you need all 3 pieces.
It'll be the mystery runner.
Maybe you could recruit one of the bat boys, or Deuce Barnes might be at the ballpark tonight. He'd be a perfect base runner,
okay,
or a on-deck hitter.
So I gather you don't want to be a part of it.
Well, I have to stay up here, and I have obligations to fulfill on my own.
You're right. You're right. Those are important.
A big turning point to do tonight, I'm sure. Lorenzo Cain, a big bouncer out to Tejada. Cain is retired.
Hey, fans, for just $16, get 1 Terrace Reserve ticket to select Brewers games at Miller Park and 1 reserve bleacher ticket to select Wisconsin Timber Rattlers games in Appleton, plus a special Brewers Timber Rattlers cap. For details, visit brewers.com/Timber Rattlers.
Here's Escobar with 1 away. Escobar with a hit tonight. He's 1 for 3. The 3 rookies who hit in succession, all with a hit. Cain, Escobar, and Lucroy. Lucroy had the big hit. He put the Brewers ahead with a home run in the 4th inning.
Brewers bounced off the mat after falling behind 2 different times by 3 runs. It's been a nice ball game so far, and Chris Capuano has certainly calmed things down for the Brewers.
Into center field. That's going to fall, a base hit. So Escobar with his 2nd base hit of the game. The Brewers now have 14 safeties and a base runner for Lucroy.
Well, really staying on that baseball nicely is Escobar. Check it out. There's that cut fastball from Webb. One problem that Webb has is he really doesn't have an off-speed pitch, which is why they like to use him out of the bullpen. But still in all, even out of the bullpen, it's either the sinker at mid-90s or the cutter in the low 90s. Not much of a speed differential.
Webb, the 3rd pitcher used by the Padres. Lucroy takes strike 1. Elsewhere in the National League, the Giants lead the Cardinals in the bottom of the 8th, 6-3. Cardinals are threatening, though. They've scored twice already. Albert Pujols is homing again, number 32. Man, some kind of month he's having in August. Pujols, the league leader in home runs. He's hit 9 home runs in the month of August.
Yeah, Adam Dunn still stuck on 31 home runs, followed by Joey Votto and Dan Uggla. Not Uggla, he just continues to hit the home runs for that Marlins ball club down there in Florida. Good hitter.
No home runs tonight for Dunn or any of the other Nationals. The Phillies shut him out 1-0. Roy Halladay and Brad Lidge combined on, check this, Rock, a 10-hit shutout. Halliday to 16-8. His ERA is at 2.16. And keeping himself in the Cy Young picture. Phillies got a run in the 3rd inning. That's all they needed. Escobar takes off. Torrealba's throw. One hops. Escobar is in there. A stolen base.
Boy, he's at full speed pretty quick, isn't he? That guy takes about 3 steps, and he is full bore down towards second base.
It's number 9 for Escobar.
Check him out. You know, decent lead. Very good jump. I mean, he went on the first move, and as we mentioned, Webb a little bit slow to home plate. He steals that one easily. Even if the throw's right on the bag, that's short hop Cabrera.
Escobar was a big base stealer in the minor leagues, and we mentioned he's been hitting 8, so he really hasn't had a chance to run that much. But there are many in the Brewers organization that feel Escobar has the potential to steal 30, 40, even 50 bases in a big league season.
Yeah, you keep him at that number 8 spot, he may very well, but in the 8th spot, no chance. You want to make the last out with a pitcher standing there at the plate.
Escobar stole 42 bases last year for Nashville. And that was in just 109 games. But it's a different kind of team here in the big leagues. A home run hitting team and a manager who does not run a lot.
Well, you know, Ken Maga loves the stolen base as long as you don't get thrown out.
Right. He loves the successful steal.
You get thrown out, he puts the brakes on you for about 2 weeks.
In the penalty box. It's like a base runner's timeout. Red light.
It's only a good play if you make it. A results-oriented league. Can't blame them. I mean, you lead the league in home runs. First thing you want to do is make outs on the bases.
A base hit. The Brewers can tack another one on. It's 9-6 Milwaukee, bottom of the 7th. Lucroy over to Gonzalez. And he hits Webb covering. Second out of the inning. Escobar advances. And Ken Maga has made his decision on Chris Capuano. So Capuano is out. Joe Inglet will pinch hit. The Major League's leading pinch hitter. Has 16 pinch hits this season and a .320 batting average. So he'll hit for Capuano, who finishes with 3 2/3 of scoreless baseball. Craig Kashawn mentioned he faced 11 batters. The only blemish was a walk, and he wiped out that walk with a double play.
And faced a minimum while he was out there. In line for a win.
Well, if this should hold up and Capuano wins this game, it would be his first win at Miller Park since May 7th of 07. That was against the Washington Nationals. And he will be the headliner at the end of this game if Milwaukee does get to the finish line. Two and two to England. Cincinnati and Los Angeles are underway. The Reds are in L.A. tonight. 1-0 Reds. Homer Bailey pitches for Cincinnati. They're in the bottom of the 2nd at Chavez Ravine. Inglet into right center, a base hit. And another runner's in as Joe Inglet delivers a pinch hit single.
A 95-mile-an-hour fastball sinking going away from Inglet. He just dropped the head of the bat on it. So the Brewers once again manufacture a run and are now 4 for 7 with runners in scoring position and 7 RBIs. A good job of situational hitting by the Brew Crew tonight. You see Inglet stand right on that sinker with good velocity, 95 miles an hour, and able to bang it into the gap.
His major league leading 17th pinch hit. And now 5 RBIs as a pinch hitter. He makes it 10-6 Brewers. Top of the order here is Weeks. The Brewers were behind 3-0 after the top of the first. They trailed 5-2 after the top of the second. And now lead 10-6 on 15 hits.
And the Brewers have outscored the Padres since that 5-2 lead, 8-1. Courtesy of Chris Capuano.
Capuano, not only did he go 3 2/3 scoreless, but he also had a hit. Weeks takes a strike on the corner. 2-2 on Ricky Weeks. He delivered an RBI in the 5th inning, had a double into right center. 73 RBIs for Weeks now. By far and away the most RBIs by a leadoff hitter. That RBI by Inglet takes it out of a save situation at this point. If you got your eyes on Trevor Hoffman.
And you just hope it stays that way.
Although I got to admit, there's a small part of me that wants to see what Maka does in a save situation. It's just a small part.
Okay.
For the entertainment value. Not wishing anybody to give up any runs. But you got to admit, when Hoffman comes in to save a game at home and they crank up the AC/DC, it's kind of fun in here. It's fun in here always, but especially when Hoffman is making a run and a save. Two balls, 2 strikes. 3-2. Bunch of finals already in tonight. Marlins shut out the Astros 9-0. Marlins got hit with some bad news today. Ronnie Paulino, their catcher, suspended for the use of performance-enhancing drugs. He's done for the year. Mets beat the Pirates 7-2. They've had their share of troubles as well off the field.
There's that cut fastball, Ricky, just a little bit underneath. Getting a piece of Torrealba.
Full count, 2 outs. Inglet doing his wind sprints over at first base. He'll be off again. And a swing and a miss. Down goes Weeks, 96-mile-an-hour fastball. And the inning ends. But the Brewers add The Brewers weather forecast sent to your phone. Text keyword forecast to short code 234234 and click on the link. That's all you have to do. You get the forecast right there. We go to the 8th, and the Brewers with a 10-6 lead over the Western Division leading San Diego Padres. Todd Coffey is in the pitch. Capuano is out after 3 2/3 of scoreless baseball. He's in line for the win.
Cappy's put together some really nice outings lately. Scoreless inning on Friday against the Rockies. And tonight, probably his best outing of the year. And Todd Coffey on for the 54th time this year. A 4-run cushion as we start the 8th inning. Coffey pitched the scoreless inning on Sunday against the Rockies. Stranded a couple of inherited base runners in the 6th inning.
Haven't seen him since, so it's been a while for Coffey. Yorvi Torrealba will lead off for San Diego. He is 0 for 3. Well, you can't say enough about Chris Capuano, and you wonder if he's pitching well enough at this point and showing enough stamina and strength in that surgically repaired elbow to perhaps get another chance in the starting rotation. That was impressive tonight in a game where the hitters were dominating.
Yeah, but I think you still have to be cautious with Capuano's arm. I mean, coming off that Tommy John surgery, and hadn't been that long ago. I think the Brewers very happy with the way they're using Cappy now. That doesn't mean he can't make a couple of starts. We'll see. You think if Ken Mock is asked about Cappy, he'll give you a definitive answer?
No. He'll say he'll have two things to say, one or the other. He'll say, I need to talk to him. Or he'll say, I'll let you know. It'll be a game time decision.
Think you got him down pat?
I think so. Sometimes he'll throw you a curveball, but that's pretty much how it goes. As Coffey, impressive. He strikes out Torrealba. There's his good slider. It hasn't been a pitch he's been able to rely on too much this year, but ever since the injury.
Yeah, get ahead with 2 strikes, you get hitters to chase that pitch and put it right where he wanted. Off the outside corner.
Chris DeNorfia now. 1 for 2. He singled and scored in the 2nd inning. Has a strikeout and a walk tonight. San Diego, 22 wins against the National League Central Division this year. 22-5.
Yeah.
And they've won 13 straight against the Central. They have owned this division.
You know what I always say about numbers like that? They're due.
Law of averages.
They're due to lose a few. No better time than this weekend.
Padres have been good on the road as well. They're 12 over away from Petco. Across the board, they're good. And the best record in the National League to start play today.
Yeah, when you're 26 games over 500, it's not just home wins that you're talking about. You're winning everywhere.
They usually do not give up runs. This is an unusual kind of game for the Padres to be involved in. With 16 runs on the board. They count on great pitching and defense. And they're involved in a lot of one-run games, a lot of tight, well-pitched games. Another strikeout on the slider. Back-to-back. Coffey has that big slider going tonight. 2 outs in this 8th inning. Say be sure to join us for Brewers Live postgame show sponsored by Lincoln Mercury. And it will include our on-field instructional, which will focus on the duties of the on-deck hitter. He's not just over there to get loose. And earlier tonight, see Ryan Ludwig. I'm not sure he's in the best position.
No, that's not. I'm going to talk to Davey about that. We're going to see that video again. You got to be in line with the base runner and more toward the Brewer dugout. Might as well not even bother when you're standing there.
Well, Ludwig said, I told him to get down. I think he realized he wasn't there, and it was kind of an odd play. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Going through the motions to say, yeah, I tried.
I did the best I could, Skipper. I was out there as far as I could get. Everett Cabrera with 2 outs in the 8th inning. The Padres have not had a base runner since the 5th. That was a walk to DeNorfia, and it was quickly erased with a double play. The Brewers putting 10 runs on the board against San Diego. It's the first time they've given up double digits since the 9th of July. And look at Cabrera with an Ichiro swing. Check out this swing, Rock. That's straight out of the Ichiro handbook right there.
Yeah, I was going through the game by game for the Padres, and I counted now. This is the 5th time that the Padres have given up 10 or more runs.
And the first since the 9th of July.
They gave up a season high 15 runs to the Seattle Mariners back on May 21st.
Also a game started by Wade LeBlanc. Those are about his only 2 bad starts of the year, though.
Right. But that's what my calculations here. They may be off a bit, 1 or 2. But bottom line is they haven't given up double-digit runs very often this year.
The 1-2. Down and in.
You know, when I start getting caught up in the numbers, I have a tendency to trip myself up a bit. I went out on a limb there.
It's smoke coming out of your ears. That's what we have Mike Faulkner for.
Yeah. Once in a while, I just try to surprise you guys.
That's a nice play down there by the ball girl. Well done. See, the lady in green has no idea what almost happened to her. She just reached out and just picked it.
Good hands.
Yeah.
They just don't throw anybody down there.
No, you got to have some skills. Escobar. And he makes a play in a 3-up, 3-down inning for Todd Coffey. Brewers flashed in a little leather. Even the ball girl. Look at this catch. Atta girl. homer to get the Padres started on the board. Then a 2-run homer in the first by Chase Headley. Casey McGee, though, hit a 3-run shot in the third to tie the game at 5. And then Jonathan Lucroy put the Brewers ahead with a 2-run home run in the 4th inning. The story tonight after the offense is Chris Capuano. 11 batters faced the minimum, gave up just 1 walk on a double play, and he struck out 4. And now the Padres will send Edward Mujica, the 3rd reliever used. And he's going to face Chris Dickerson.
Look at the walk to strikeout numbers from Mujica, 10-1, almost 11-1. Was it 56 strikeouts and 5 walks? Incredible control.
Dickerson coming in for Hart last inning in right. His first at bat. Acquired from the Cincinnati Reds. He was involved in the Jim Edmonds trade. The Edmonds trade primarily was made to give Lorenzo Cain some extra looks, and Cain has seized the opportunity. He's played so well that Ken Maka said before the game he'll get the lion's share of the playing time in center field the rest of the year.
Yep, got a hit, scored a run. Ken Maka wants to see what he can do. I think so far he's passed the test, talking about Lorenzo.
Had a couple of hits against Adam Wainwright on Wednesday. As Dickerson strikes out, Mujica with 1 away here in the 8th. So we have our text question going tonight, courtesy of U.S. Cellular. And we want to know which Brewers rookie has impressed you the most. W for Escobar, X for Lucroy, Y for Cain, and Z for Axford. Send the corresponding letter to 234234 is the text number. We'll give you tonight's results in our Brewers Live postgame show. We'll finish it up on Sunday. Ryan Braun with 1 away in the 8th. Couple of hits tonight for Braun. 2 walks as well. He's been on base 4 times. That one's hit hard. Right field, way back. Ludwig at the wall. He's got it for the out. Great catch from Ryan Ludwig. As Braun comes up just a few feet short.
Well, Ludwig, we remember him with the Cardinals, plays very deep out there in right field. Didn't have too far to go. Look at a slider that stayed in the middle part of the plate. And Ludwig just waiting for it, deep on that warning track. A little bit of a bobble, but able to haul it in. Plays extremely deep in the outfield, particularly for Ryan Braun. And made that one look easy. Almost dropped it, though.
So we just got word on Corey Hart, by the way. He left the game with a tight right hamstring. This fielder hits one into the shift. And he's out, and the inning is over. We'll have more on the Corey Hart injury. Brewers Live postgame. We're headed for the 9th. point, our Menards player of the game, Rock, is Chris Capuano. 3 2/3 innings here tonight of scoreless baseball.
Well, he came in a tough situation. He had the bases loaded, only 1 out in the 4th inning, and it was a very close game at that point. Got a strikeout and a ground out and retired all but 1. He walked 1 batter, but faced a minimum through 11 hitters. What a job by Capuano.
So Coffey is on for the 9th inning and his 2nd inning, and never mind. Here comes Ken Maka. And I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Maka wanted to get the pinch hitter announced. That's obviously what he's done here.
And Matt Stairs.
So once Stairs was announced into the game, Maka makes the change, and Coffey's done. So we'll take a break. Zach Braddock on the pitch.
Well, Zach pitched on Sunday against the Rockies, stranded 3 inherited base runners in the 8th inning with nobody out. So he had a couple of strikeouts in that inning, pitched very well. 31st appearance for Braddock, a .338 earned run average. He's only allowed the 1 home run.
Well, Braddock's been shut down for a little bit. They've been protecting his innings and his outings. Had a bit of an oblique strain. Well, he'll have the 9th. Stairs was announced, pulled back. Now Scott Hairston will hit. Hairston to lead off, then to the top of the order. Venable, then Tejada. If anybody gets on, Adrian Gonzalez would bat. A 4-run Brewers lead. Padres have not had a hit since Gonzalez single in the 4th inning. And they've only had 1 base runner since that 4th inning as well. That was a walk to Denorfia in the 5th. And you ask where momentum comes from.
It comes from that mound is where it comes from.
Capuano comes on and completely changes the game. Gallardo struggled tonight. 6 runs and 3 1/3. Capuano is in line for the victory. Wade LeBlanc on the hook for the loss. Lucroy looks like he has a play. And he's got it for the first out.
Well, there's a gift right there. A 2-0 count, down by 4 runs. And it looked like Harrison swung at a pitch out of the zone. There's a case where Ted Simmons, I would imagine, go over to young Hairston and say, I don't think that's a good idea. Take a strike. Not so young Hairston.
Scott Hairston still hitless in the month of August. Top of the order, here's Venable. Trevor Hoffman getting loose in case it turns into a save situation.
A couple of base runners. It becomes a save situation.
Well, Braddock has good velocity tonight. That's encouraging.
And it's nice and easy velocity. The delivery is very short and compact. Looks effortless, and he's getting it about 93.
And his big league debut in late May against the Twins. And became so reliable that Ken Maka was calling on him a great deal. So much so that the Brewers figured they need to back him off a little bit. They saw his velocity drop a few miles per hour and decided to give him a break. There's a good-looking breaking ball. Lucroy blocks it, secures the strikeout with a peg to first. Nicely done. 2 outs in the 9th inning.
Yep, go after him with the fastball, get ahead, and then put him away with that breaking pitch. And a good job by Lucroy to keep it in front of him.
Maybe took a little bit too long to get it down to Prince. Hurry up.
That's what Prince is saying.
Yeah, come on, get it. Get it to me. Get it to me. Still not there.
Especially after what happened to Fielder in St. Louis on Wednesday when he was involved in a collision at first. Here's Tejada. Fastball strike, 95 miles an hour. Looks like Braddock is back. Chris Capuano trying to go into the winner's circle at Miller Park for the first time since May of '07. And Braddock trying to deliver him there. Hit hard left center. That is going to go to the wall. Lorenzo Cain plays it off the wall. Tejada with a double. So the Padres aren't done yet.
Yeah, one more base runner. You're going to see Trevor Hoffman in this ball game.
First hit for Tejada and the first hit for the Padres since the 4th.
Talk about centering on a fastball, 93 miles an hour. Tejada able to get the big part of the bat on that one and rip it into the gap. So the Padres still with life.
It's a 4-run game. 2 outs in the 9th. Here's Gonzalez, who has 2 hits. A home run and a single. He's driven in 2. Up the ladder with a big fastball from Braddock. That's what impressed you so much about Braddock. Right away, Ken Maka was putting him in games against some of the great left-handed hitters in baseball. Guys like Joe Mauer and Justin Morneau, and Braddock handled them all.
Well, we saw that kind of intensity and confidence and that bulldog mentality in spring training. He knew it wasn't going to be long before he was going to be in Milwaukee.
Two balls and a strike. Right on the corner, another fastball, and it's 2-2. And now the Padres down to their last strike. Brewers trying to make it 3 in a row, hoping to snap the Padres winning streak at 5. And on his hands, another fastball from Braddock. Count stays at 2-2.
That's a good spot on Gonzalez. You want it up in the zone if you're going to go in. See if he can get his slider down and away. Gonzalez doesn't chase too often.
Such a tough out, Gonzalez. He spoiled a good slider and he spoiled a good fastball. What does Braddock deliver here? 3-2-2. Fights another one off.
Really doing a nice job staying in on his hands, not leaving one out over the plate.
Good battle going on here between Gonzalez and Braddock. Tejada at second. And he fouls another one off. Coming back with a fastball again.
Well, I guess you can understand what Jonathan Lucroy is thinking. If he's behind the fastball, don't do him any favors by taking something off it and throwing a slider. Pretty much throwing it right into his bat speed unless you get it down and away.
Full count to Gonzalez. Oh, he fights another one off. What an at-bat here.
Yeah. And a pitch out of the strike zone. Gonzalez a little upset with himself for swinging at that one.
A 10-pitch at-bat for Gonzalez. Braddock has been unable to deliver that finishing pitch. Thrown him a lot of fastballs here with 2 strikes. And he got him. Braddock stayed with it. And he strikes out Gonzalez. A hard-earned final out for Zach Braddock. And what a ball game here tonight, Rock. A quick turnaround.
I'll tell you what, Chris Capuani can't say enough. But the Brewer bats just continue to be very productive. They were good with runners in scoring position tonight. They were 4 for 7 with 7 RBIs. They were able to flex their muscles with a couple of home runs, but the bullpen, certainly the story tonight.
All right, let's check in with Craig Kashaw. Still a lot more coming up tonight. It's Brewers Live, sponsored by Lincoln Mercury. Craig?
All right, guys, thank you very much. We're going to celebrate that bullpen that come from behind win by the Brewers. What the runners did in scoring position